And we're live.
We're live. I've literally just walked in the door, hence we being 2 minutes late, because I think it was best to let me get inside rather than live stream my walk home.
Yes, no.
Right.
Security.
So I'm still on my phone. I'm going to be switching to laptop in just a sec.
So morning, guys. I see Sue is here, and so is Hannah. Hey. So have you read the book, Sue? Hannah hasn't. But look, to be honest, it isn't that much of a time investment. It's totally worth the read. It's so it is a total of 198 pages. Physical pages, and the writing would be 14 point.
Yeah, it's a nice, readable print.
Friendly. It's pretty friendly. So, oh, hey, Laurel. Laurel's turned up too. How you going?
Woo! Yeah, I chucked the link in Discord like an hour ago, maybe.
Oh, yeah. I will eventually log back into Discord.
All right, switching. There we go.
Let's just mute Charlotte for a second while she shuts down the other one. Yeah, me too, Laurel. I've actually been rediscovering novellas.
I'm back. I did mute the one that I was coming off of, but I didn't mute the output, and then the input on my one picked it up. Okay. Kitchen trip with me because I got to unpack my groceries. But I fucking love this book. I haven't yet, but I've been meaning to call up my local bookshop and order a copy.
I just as an intro, like with how good this book is, it's reminding me that why certain books win the Hugos.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. All right, I'm going to sit you guys on top of the pot. There we go. How is everyone today? Welcome to my kitchen. Oh, the chat is popping. Nice.
Yes.
All right. So I'd run out of milk, which is why I had to stop to get groceries. And I'm going to make a pot of coffee because I have dandelion root coffee and there's no caffeine in it and it's delicious. So
I got chai. I needed chai tonight.
Oh, my friend. So the friend I was catching up with today used to work at T2 and she gave me a heap of tea and I'm so happy.
Yeah. Look, to be honest, some of them I don't like, but a couple of the T2 teas, you just can't beat them. One of my favourite used to be George's Baker. One of my favourite green teas. I don't know if you've had that one. Just the green tea, I think it's got rose in it.
I just realised that was not a good place because I could not hear you over the kettle.
It's all good. It's all good.
So she gave me a really nice smelling chai-ish couple of ones. I can't remember.
Is it Acadia? The orange ones that you can buy from Coles and Woolies. Orange. It's in an orange. Like you can buy them in an orange container, or you can buy them in satchels. It's just the spiced chai. I think it's Acadia or something. I just like them.
Familiar, but I don't think I've ever gotten it.
You'd probably know the packet if I showed it to you because it normally comes in like a little tubey tub, sort of an orangey yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one called Mulled Wine today.
Oh, I love mulled wine. Love
but
it.
it's like a tea called mulled wine, and it smells like mulled wine, and it smells amazing.
Well, all the spices. All you need is the spices, and then you just got to do something to substitute the red wine for it, really.
Mm. Yeah, I'm not sure what it's done, but it smells really good.
Yeah, Hannah, it has to be spice chai for me, though. I don't like the vanilla chai, and I hate dirty chai.
Vanilla chai is disgusting, and I have not yet tried dirty chai.
Well, dirty chai is absolutely foul. Well, at least the one I tried was.
Well, it's like coffee and chai, isn't it?
It's espresso, yeah. Okay, confession. The one I tried was the Audi brand. But most Audi brown coffees and teas are quite nice. So,
their chai powder is kind of shit, though. Their powdered chai is really
it was a dirty chai powder, and I ended up throwing out the whole container. I just disgusted. I had like 3 sips, and I just threw the lot out. I couldn't handle it.
I've got this one from Aldi. I got this like 2 years ago, and it's still cool.
That's all right. That one's okay.
I don't like it. You can have it if you want, but it's 2 years old.
I don't want it. I don't want it. It's okay in a pinch.
Yeah. I much prefer.
I have too many teas as it is, considering I'm a coffee drinker.
Oh, you should see my tea collection. I already had planned to do a sorting my tea collection sort of section of a video at least, or like a chatty.
One of the knitters I follow. One of the knitters I follow, a crafter. God, what's her name? The Craft Corner. What's her name? Hannah, I think. Hannah. And she actually over Christmas, because she forgot to buy her a tea advent calendar. She had that many teas in the cupboard. She was able to make her own.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't have that many teas. I have a lot of the infusions, the new Tetley infusions, because I put them in soda water.
Ready for an inappropriate visual joke?
Oh, God, here we go. Hey, it's not broccoli at least.
Oh, yeah, poor Bethany. Hey, Bethany, would you like these instead?
Would you like some eggplant?
You can make really nice dip with them, and I am aware that I am holding these right in my face.
Look, Hannah,
very long walk down.
To be honest, it might have been the chai itself. It might have just been the brand, because it was the Audi Dirty Chai.
Yeah.
I mean, I may try it again if I'm in a coffee shop that's known for decent chai. But as it is, actually, if you've had chai in Melbourne, Charlotte, if you've gone to any sort of coffee shop in Melbourne, you've probably had the one I buy.
The Aldi one?
Because the Arcadia or something. I'll go grab a bag.
Yeah, no, I would have had it from like Grafali's and stuff.
Because I use it all the time. But I know Muffin Breaks has it. Definitely know Muffin Break has it. I think what's the other chain?
Wendy's?
I think they have it too.
Gloria Jean's,
yeah.
Or as I like to call it, coffee with a side of homophobia.
Yeah, we won't go there.
I'm really annoyed because I used to love going there, and now like I still go there occasionally, but I'm just like, you bastards.
I will go there if I have no other choice, because at the end of the day, though, I'm where I will go to like the tiny little in Melbourne we're big coffee snobs, huge coffee snobs. There is guaranteed to be a proper coffee shop somewhere in the plaza, like even just your local plaza, where you could probably get drip coffee from.
Ooh, yeah.
And usually those drip coffee places also have AeroPresses. I once taught a barista how to use his AeroPress. these before. What do you do with it? I'm like, oh, this is what you do, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, honey.
I love the AeroPress. I really do.
Oh, I saw Laurel's comment. So in 2017, you might have been on the news over there, we had a postal vote on whether or not gay marriage should be legalized. And the owner of Gloria Jean's Coffee, which is like a brand coffee shop, came out. Yeah, was come out as like a massive like gay marriage advocate person.
Yes,
it was the whole thing.
Yeah, and we'll see. Didn't they back that stupid lady who owned the cake store that was going on about the wedding cakes? And we're just like,
I think there was something about some money being involved with them.
Market.
Yeah.
Why are you so intent about not selling to something? You could be making a fortune selling fancy cakes to these people.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm so stupid. It's so stupid. Anyway, so a lot of queer people have boycotted or stopped going to Gloria Jean's after that because all of the money that is being made from the company is going towards this douchebag who owns it, who's anti-gay marriage.
I also find in some of them, I don't know what it's like now because I don't buy a lot of coffee from these shops at all. But she's okay. Sorry, I was sitting at the door trying to decide whether or not she wants in or out. But yeah, I find I sometimes don't think they clean the coffee machines enough.
They don't, and it tastes burnt.
Dishwasher. I have literally had dirty dishwashing coffee.
Oh gosh, yeah, it tastes disgusting.
Which is why I like the AeroPress because it's a one-shot machine.
Yeah.
You put your filter in, you put your coffee in the bottom, you pour your hot water on top, you squeeze it down, and you're done. Then you rinse it out for the next lot.
So. Yeah. I've just got a little plunger here, and I've got a coffee machine coming next time I get my car up because my brother has pods, and he's given me his coffee machine.
Well, my dad insisted on a coffee machine, a proper one.
Yeah.
And he whinges because he has to wash it every week. And I'm like, well, you're the one you could have just bought an AeroPress. I had an AeroPress when I was living at home with my parents for about 10 years. And he used to use it quite regularly. But instead of going and buying a $60, $70 machine, he's gone and bought a $400 thing that he has to clean every week. And descale. The thing's always telling you have to descale it.
Ah. See, I actually just realized I don't know how to clean this coffee machine I've got.
Just look up instructions. YouTube.
Yeah.
Yes, Hannah. It's an entire ritual, isn't it? It's just, I just go, no, I'm good. I'll keep my AeroPresses. I got like 4 of them now. 3 or 4? 3 and 1 broke.
Oh, I sealed this and now I want more out of it and I can't get it open because my hands are
okay. We are actually here to talk about a book.
Oh yeah, we are.
But we haven't actually talked it today, so we're catching up.
All right.
Hello, DJ.
Oh, this is how you lose the Time War. You should have it if you haven't, and it is so good.
It's I can see why it won the Hugo.
It's amazing. I am in love with this book.
I read it on Tuesday from start to finish.
Yeah.
In between looking after my sick son. And then when he went down to sleep that night, I immediately put the audiobook on and re-listened to the entire audiobook.
Nice.
Because I had to reread it knowing the end and knowing what happens so I could see the little nuggets through the story. And it's just so well done. You know, it kind of cemented my, because I always intended to release my novella first because I think it's a great way to get practice. And I think this it's an art form in its own right, a novella.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's made me very excited to attempt a novella because I have a current idea for a parallel novella to Project Space that is a parallel storyline in the same city, with the same corporation.
We see, I'm not a big short story writer because my short stories always run too long. They always run to about a novella size.
Yeah.
And I think I've got to just realise that I'm just not in – the short form just doesn't work for me. But novellas are still considered a short form, but they're not this size.
Yeah.
Yes, I did a book. I went to the shops the other day and I was left unsupervised in the bookstore. So I picked this up.
Yeah. I
and a few others.
We read this novella like every year. I love it so much. And like, you know, the build up before like the main sort of climax event happens, it was building up to that, and I knew something was gonna go wrong and like that something was gonna happen. I was like, I am so in love and invested with these characters and this book, and I'm so scared that they're gonna stumble into my heart with some tragedy sort of thing.
Yeah. It's interesting because I know Save the Cat's very popular at the moment in some circles, hugely popular. It's just a version of story structure. But
yeah.
this hits all the beats.
Yeah. But it doesn't feel formulaic in the
No, it doesn't.
It feels like
I was trying to figure out which bit you would consider the false victory.
False victory.
I think it's more a false defeat.
I think it, yeah, well, yeah. It's almost an inverted 3-act arc. It's an inverted Freitag's arc. Although it's not really inverted, but it's like.
Really, because it actually is a classic version of the arc because it does start very positive and it slowly descends because they know they're in trouble effectively.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got the ending.
Yeah.
Which I'm trying very hard not to spoil for these people that have not read it yet.
Yeah, same.
Log off, go read it, come back. 4 hours. We'll probably still be talking about it.
We'll be going for probably a while, and then after a while we'll put a spoiler tag up and everyone can, like, who doesn't want spoilers can continue on for a bit.
Yeah. But the language, oh my God, the language. Okay.
It's so nice.
Okay. One of my biggest things that I enjoyed about Addie LaRue was the language. But I found it quite repetitive. I think she could have cut a fair amount of it out and it still would have been beautiful, but it would have been stronger because it wasn't so winding.
Yeah.
This is so concise.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I think the repetition in Addie was like deliberate, but yeah, I do
too. I don't fault it for it, but because I didn't connect very well with the character in Addie, I had trouble dealing with the language. When this, you don't actually have that much to connect with them except for one thread.
Oh, that's so good, though. So good.
Yes.
Ah, yes. I love it so much. Everyone go read this book.
Thanks for swinging by, Laurel. We'll see you soon. Have fun teaching kids.
I review this book.
Oh, Spagbog toasted stand. Oh, Sue, you're talking my favourite language.
Oh, yeah. I need a sandwich toaster, man.
I need a sandwich maker. I really do.
Yeah. All right.
No, Jaffa maker. Sorry, a Jaffa maker is what I really need.
Spagbog
cheese. Spagbog and cheese inside it. Jaffle. I call it jaffle, but it's like, yeah. Anyway, that you know what I'm talking about. The thing. And you can do baked beans in it too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now we're talking. This is basically.
And when I'm really desperate, tuna, a bit of lemon pepper and cheese.
Ooh.
Sorry. Sue, I'm pregnant. You distracted me with food.
I was about to say, this has been a food and tea stream with a side of book.
Yes.
And isn't that what everyone is here for?
Yes.
Speaking of food, I'm making dinner at the moment. I'm pottering around with my new ingredients.
Are you going to massage your lettuce?
Huh?
Are you going to massage your lettuce?
Don't know if I can be bothered, to be honest.
Oh dear. Yes. Oh no, look, it's. I'm just trying to think of the best way to describe this book.
An epistolary love story between two agents on opposite sides of a time war.
I like what Martha Wells actually wrote. Rich and strange, a romantic tour through all time and the multiverse.
Yes. Yeah.
Speaking of Wells, did you hear the news about Wells and Hickman? We get a new Dragonlance novel. Sorry.
Laurel said awkward eye contact.
Did I say Dragonlance? No, Forgotten Realms. One of them. I can't remember which one now.
Laurel said we're lacking in awkward eye contact, so I felt I had to oblige. Coffee.
Oh god, I was kicking myself laughing during that entire little vlog of hers.
Okay, the whacked seal is my favorite thing ever.
Oh god.
I don't want anything else away until we've got a spoiler warning, but
yeah. That's actually a very good example of a turn to phrase. They've used an example, they've used a turn of phrase, and then they throw it on its head.
Oh, they do it all the time, and it's so good. Oh god.
Oops. Oh no worries. Have fun at your meeting. Because they're never fun.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Food, glorious food. So, I feel like maybe we should start doing like a star rating for all of the books that we do.
Yeah, I don't really like star ratings because, like, I always feel very constrained by them. Because, as I said, like, okay, personally, I had problems with Addie, but I would recommend someone read it. So to me, star ratings are.
I know what we should do. You know, Top Gear, how they've got the fastest celeb in the car, and they've got the wall of like top to lowest. Yes. A wall and rank the books, which ones are the top ones of all time, which ones like in order.
Yes, probably. We should. Well, this one's right on top for now.
This one's right on top for now. Oh, it's so good.
Yes. Considering that, you know, the fact that I read it twice in one day.
And Broken is definitely on the bottom.
Yeah. Oh my god, I still cannot get over the reread of that one. Anyway.
Oh my god.
Because I used to love that book. And then I reread it and went, oh my god. It's actually quite funny. It's like Dragonflight. I tried to reread Dragonflight a couple of years back. Looking back on it from a bit of more of an enlightened adult mentality, it is so problematic.
Oh man, yeah.
Very problematic, that book.
There's so many books like that.
And look, and for their time, it was brilliant. But when you're rereading it, and you go, hang on, the main female character is frightened of her partner because he yells at her a lot and shakes her.
Oh, fun.
That's a healthy relationship. Oh, look who's joined. We didn't even summon you, Emily. We didn't even discuss that SJM's got a release date.
Oh, yeah. We forgot to summon her.
Oh, dear.
I keep getting summoned by chaos in different streams.
Sorry?
I keep getting summoned in different streams by chaos. Like, I'll show up and people are like, oh, we were just talking about chaos. And I'm just like, well, hi.
Well, that actually happened the other day. What stream was I on? And all of a sudden, like, I literally logged in, like, for 10 seconds just to see what was going on because I had Mark hanging on a knee. And I walked in and like about 3 lines about someone talking about chaos. I'm like,
I'm not even there. Yeah. That was Peyton Brooks one with Cam.
I think so, Feb or March. But you have to read it for us. You have to go through the pain and suffering for us, so we don't have to.
I mean, Cindy probably will as well, but we need an Emmy round.
Oh, sorry, my Arlo's doing weird things. He is asleep. Okay. Sorry, my baby monitor was afternoon, JJ. Just showed the entire internet you're stuffing. Good boy. 1895-38. I must admit, I won't lie, I did go back and rewatch all of Read with Cindy's back catalogue of her rant reviews.
I got through most of the Okata or whatever it's fucking called.
Whatever it is. I didn't get past that a third of the way of the first book. Because I just went, I am not reading this shit.
I got through most of Cindy's reviews of the series.
Yeah.
They're so funny.
Yes, Em, I'm a completionist too. I would be doing exactly the same thing. Yeah, there's a certain book that's out now that I'm like, I really don't want to buy, but it is part of a series and it's got to sort of look neat on my shelf. So...
Or you know what you could do? You could get rid of the books that you don't like.
I could, but it was a rather large investment.
Well, it would be a large return then, if you resold it.
I mean, I might unsell it. I'm sure there'll be someone out there that would want it.
Oh, I need to do yoga. Okay. Oh,
yeah, and that's happened with me. I mean, look at me. I absolutely used to adore Broken Angels. Can't stand it now because it's a waste of time and space and energy. And as I was saying before, Dragonflight, Anne McCaffrey's Dragonflight. Try to reread that with an adult eye, and you're like, this was the female role model I grew up with.
Yeah. You got to wonder sometimes whether it's a deliberate social commentary or just like the status quo at the time of writing of what was expected, sort of.
Yeah, a lot of fantasy I grew up with was all 70s, sort of 60s, 70s, 80s. At the time, it was what I was reading in the 90s. That had been perfectly acceptable standards. Yeah. So no one saw any problem with them, but you try to reread them now, 20, 30 years later, and you're like, oh, I don't think this would get published in this day and age. But you can't wipe history, really. You got to acknowledge that it was around.
I don't know. Shit like 50 Shades and Sarah J. Maas gets published, so it probably would get published.
Yeah, good point. Good point. Good point.
All right.
Okay. Let's chat.
Yes.
Opening sentence.
This is a first edition. My library is fancy, apparently.
Very fancy. See, I don't have the first edition because I've got the fake sticker on mine. When they re-released the cover with the sticker saying it's one Hugo horse, which I think is the most useless thing in the world. But, what do you? But this, I must admit, just the first sentence. When red wins, she stands alone.
And the next sentence is just, I love the dedication to you.
Yeah, you. Yeah, I like that too.
When red wins, she stands alone. Blood slicks her hair. She breathes out steam in the last night of this dying world.
It's all right, Em. We'll warn you when we start spoilers.
We can put like a banner when someone comes in again once we start spoiling. But yeah. Dinner. But yeah, I loved the way it was written. With the chapters, like really short chapters, and then the letters that they find. So each chapter ends with them finding the next letter from each other. And then you read the letter and then you go on to the next chapter. Oh, it's so beautiful. And they use the form so well.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like the best, like, enemies to lovers progression as well. Oh, so good. It's really cool. It's like the two characters, Red and Blue, are both agents in a time war, and they sort of connect because there's no one as good as them as each other, so they're the best at what they do.
It's what I really like about it is okay, the modern books that we're dissing a little bit, and ones we haven't dissed, they do. You can sometimes have a very huge age gap in some YA novels when it comes to characters that fall in love. When this is, I think part of the reason they go enemies to lovers is because even though there is a bit of an age difference, you can sort of get a feeling that there's a little bit of an age difference between them. It doesn't matter because they've lived for so long.
They're both time travelers. So
you know what their actual age is. For all you know, they could both be in their 50s, they could both be in their 150s, they could both be 500.
But also they're living in different bodies around like different points in time. And they both that's going to be a spoiler. But the timelines cross.
Yeah. And it's a multiverse. It is a multiverse. So if anyone knows much about the Marvel universe, it's about to expand out into its traditional multiverse, which is in the comics. But it's like number your universes, because each one has a split in it somewhere that changes it. Like Endgame, where the Sorcerer Supreme is explaining the timeline to Banner, and she says it splits. The splits change the split every time there's a split, there's a different timeline and different multiverse, different universe.
called it the threads, and they're weaving the threads by making changes in the timeline.
But you know what I really enjoy about that is that both sides very obviously have the same catalogue for their multiverses. So somewhere down the track, somewhere in this whole thing before the war started, they were the same society.
Yeah. And they're changing the way the society develops so that they'll end up with one or the other. I laughed at Sui's comment, and it's okay. I thought it was a craft book about time management. Probably have Googled it.
You know what? That would actually be a good name about it for time management.
This is how you lose the time war.
Oh, God.
That could be the title of my autobiography.
Oh, dear. I think mine will be I tried. Oh, dear.
Yeah, the world building was so beautiful.
Yeah, and it didn't. So this is the thing: is like it didn't need a huge amount.
It didn't explain it. Yeah,
you know, you got maybe a couple of paragraphs per book, per chapter of where they were, and maybe one or two sentences about their character, like what they're from or what they knew of the world, and that was it. You know, you didn't really. It wasn't ridiculous, you know, pages and pages of description of a leaf falling from a tree or something.
Unless it was a very relevant leaf, which I don't think there was any leaves actually.
No, they didn't even go into that. Like, there's a bit where there's a tree that's quite significant, and but literally all they say is the tree fell in the forest. That's it. You're done. You know, we all know what a forest looks like. We can imagine our own version of a tree and our own version of someone putting it down.
I love that line because it was a tree falls in a forest and makes a sound.
Yeah. Yes.
It doesn't say whether anyone heard it.
That's what I really like about this is they trust the reader.
The amount of plays on sayings and stuff is just wonderful. Oh, so good. The language is just amazing. Every chapter starts with an amazing line. Oh, I love this. They keep saying, as the prophet says, or as prophets say, and then using some lyrics from a pop song or something like that. This one says,
okay. There's a bit where they're in like a futuristic version of Earth. Siri is a god.
Yes! I love that. It's okay, Siri. I'm just here for the riddle.
I loved it. I love that bit. The minute it took me a minute because I read it and then I went, no, hang on. Oh, yes, they did do that. That's fantastic.
Okay, so I just opened to a random page because there was a sticky note there that's not really relevant, but the opening line of the chapter is, as the prophet says, everybody's building them big ships and boats. I'm pretty sure it's a lyric from a song. I just can't remember which song.
So yes. So it's very much a lot of description is left. They describe what's important, but a lot of it is left to the reader's imagination. So, like, they describe, obviously going back to the forest, they describe a forest being cut down, and they don't. The only other thing you know is that she's in the time of the Mongols. And she's with the Mongol horde. So you have to assume it's trees in a forest in China somewhere or around that area. So, but you don't get it's a judicious tree that, you know, has leaves in the summer and drops. You don't get that because you don't need it.
Because it's also spanning different parallel time threads. So it doesn't tell you which version of Genghis Khan it's in, just that this version of the timeline.
He could have been in Australia down eucalyptuses for all we know.
Yeah.
You know,
I really love that as well. I loved the Atlantis Chapter. Oh, that was so good.
I just loved how they find common ground. We won't spoil it. They find common ground at Atlantis.
Mm.
And it's just so well done. Yes. But yeah.
Okay.
Are we going to have to start getting spoilers?
I have to read this random line because I have a sticky note that just says Kara with an exclamation mark, who is the main character from my book. I'm trying to work out which line it is. Oh, here we go. So the great grand emperor's word goes out, and so a port is built, and sailors flock beckoned by adventure. Adventure works in any strand. It calls to those who care more for living than for their lives.
I love that line. I actually like that. I like that line a lot.
Because that's basically because I was listening to Writing Excuses the other day, and V. Schwab says she creates a mantra for her characters. And so Lila Bard's mantra at the start of the book is, at the start of A Darker Shade of Magic, is, if a thing's worth having, it's worth stealing.
Yeah.
And I was like thinking about like what that would be for my main character, and it's something along the lines of live fast or miss out on an adventure. And then I read that and I was like, oh, adventure, yes, she is the one who cares more for living than for her life. Yes, that is so good. There's so many lines like that. I love it.
It's such a tight novella. It's just been, I think in a way it gives me the impression it took them a while to write.
Yeah.
And
I mean, write the course, I think. Like write one chapter, the next, and the other one write the response sort of thing.
Yeah, but I just get the feeling for them to make it so tight. Like I can't tell who wrote what. Very much, I haven't read anything else of either of these two authors, so I don't have a voice to compare to. But sometimes when they do that, when they write, maybe one wrote red and one wrote blue.
I think that's yeah.
But at the same time, though, you can normally pick a slightly different tone in writing. I can't pick it in this. I can pick the characterization of the two different characters, but I can't pick two different authors. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think they did write. I think they did switch which characters wrote. They wrote one character each, but then they probably edited it and stuff together.
Yeah, because but there is definitely, like, I know there's a fair amount of push in the AuthorTube community to publish fast, publish quick, right. I don't think they gave a shit about timelines in this one. I think they wrote what they wanted and they made sure it was perfect.
Yeah. Did you read the acknowledgements at the back?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's so good. I finished the book and just kept reading all the acknowledgements because that's the only thing left at the back. And it's like 3 pages of a dialogue between the authors, like a back and forth that's labeled A-M, then A, then M, then A, then M, then A. So it's like Max and Amal.
Okay, I only bought this the other day. I haven't actually looked at this copy because I used my Hugo pack copy the other day to read it. But I just noticed the picture of the two authors on the back.
Ah, it's so good, isn't it?
That is awesome. It is awesome.
So this is the blurb, the inside cover of mine. In the ashes of a dying world, Red finds a letter marked "Burn before reading," signed Blue. So begins an unlikely correspondence between 2 rival agents in a war that stretches through the vast reaches of time and space. Red belongs to the agency, a post-singularity technotopia. Blue belongs to Garden, a single vast consciousness embedded in all organic matter. Their pasts are bloody and their futures mutually exclusive. They have nothing in common save that they're the best and they're alone. Now what began as a battlefield boast rose into a dangerous game, one both red and blue are determined to win, because winning's what you do in war, isn't it?
Yeah.
So good.
And it does, and the first letter does definitely, like the first letter, the blue writes red, definitely does smell to me of trying to not necessarily corrupt red, but to throw doubt on red by of her superiors. Because obviously they've been fighting each other through the ages, and what else do you do? Like, how else do you actually win?
It's like a sort of playing dirty sort of tactic, but then they sort of become enjoy the correspondence so much that they just keep going, and then they start to sort of get to know each other through the letters, and it's so well written.
Yeah, it is very well written. It just, as I said, it just feels tight to me. It just feels like every sentence has been checked, double checked, triple checked. You know, thrown in the race bin, then pulled back out and flattened out with an iron, and then put back in. You know, it really does feel like a tight piece of writing to me.
Oh yeah, it feels crafted. Like the prose are not just polished, but they are gleaming.
Yes, and it sort of gives you a bit more, gives you a little bit of faith back into the traditional publishing world. I mean, yes, they can release some doozies, but they also release this.
Yeah.
And who is it? This one is Joe Fletcher Books. Imprint of Kirkus. Never heard of them.
Mine says Simon and Schuster, I think, but I haven't looked at the copyright page yet.
Yeah, no, mine's done by Joe Fletcher Books. Printed and bound in Australia by McPherson's Printing Group.
Mine was done in America, I think.
Yeah, no, mine's the Australian edition, which means colour's actually spelt colour, as we know colour, not the other way. Yeah.
I wonder. Let me see if I can find the word colour anywhere, because I did not notice.
I didn't notice any. Well, see, I haven't read this version. I read the Hugo release, which I think was the US version.
Yeah. I didn't notice whether my American spelling or not.
Yeah, because the main reason to go through a local printer is to get that stuff changed. Usually, that's why there's 2 copies of the Hawke and Fisher series by and Blue Moon Rising by Simon R. Green. Anyway, that's another favourite book of mine. But I don't think they ever used the word colour, actually.
I think they do. But not a lot. Because they talk about how they didn't realise there were so many things in the colour.
The use of colour is amazing.
The use of colour would make my year 11 literature teacher so happy. Because he made us read the first 3 chapters of The Great Gatsby and circle every time a colour was mentioned, and then work out what it was symbolising.
Oh, yeah.
Which is enough to ruin Great Gatsby for you, but it does make you notice colour symbolism in everything you read from then on.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find something that is specific to either like a Aussie spelling or a US spelling or a UK spelling.
Yeah. I always look for like the words ending in I's, whether it's a Z or an S. But I'm with RU.
I love this line. The planet waits for its end. Vines live, yes, and crickets, though no one's left to see them but the skull. That's the first chapter.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Oh, I can't find anything, like any example. I love the constant references to Mrs. Leave It.
Yes.
Book of Etiquette and something.
Yeah, the book of etiquette about letter writing. Yes,
It's
I do like
so good. That's a real book, isn't it? I bet that's a real book.
I think so. I think it is. I'm pretty sure the other one they mention is too, because there's a book that they mention. One that Blue recommends to read, saying, "I recommend you read this book.
Yeah.
It's the same where it exists. It's exactly the same. So this book is exactly the same in all of its iterations across the multiverse, and I think that tells you something about that book. But I did like that.
There's the sticky notes that I have in this book, because I didn't get time to go back through and add anymore, start off with LMAO, this is the funniest thing I've ever read.
Shall I put the spoiler up?
Perhaps, yeah. The next one is just Kara, ! On that adventure line. The next one is, where is it? I saw it just before. Was in the letter where Blue reveals what her role has been previously in the Time War. And I was like, oh, was this her role at the beginning with the meeting that she was supposed to be doing? That would be one epic plot twist. But it's a deliberate red herring.
Yes.
There it is. So it's on page 71. Dear Red Sky at Morning. Yes. I love how they keep naming each other's stuff. It's so funny. I have observed friendship as one observes high holidays, breathtakingly short, whirlwinds of intimate endeavor, frenzied carousing, the sharing of food, of wine, of honey, compressed always and gone as soon as they come. It is often my duty to fall in love convincingly, and certainly I've received no complaints. But that is work, and there are better things of which to write. And I just have a sticky note that's like, oh, is that her duty now with Red? Is that why she started the letters? Woo! But then, spoilers, I think it's a red herring.
It is. It is. Because okay, so we'll get into spoilers now. The actual storyline is they never physically meet that they're aware of, but they see each other a lot. And because they over the years they've recognized each other's telltale signs of their agency or their work.
And almost.
Yeah. So they're super spies, which, you know, like a rivalry of super spies, but across time and planets as opposed to just countries and cities. And at the end, the correspondence they enter into, the first correspondence is literally Blue telling Red, you can't really tell them about this, because if you tell people about this, they're going to think that you've turned. And but you know, you can't trust anyone, because, you know, who do you trust to tell? And am I just doing this to screw with you, or am I really going to try to turn you? You know, you don't know this, you don't know. And the tone of the letters slowly change through the entire course of the book, and to the point where they actually end up, well, it is enemies to lovers, but I'm trying to articulate it.
It becomes sort of like
yeah, but you can sort of see it in how they address each other too, because they first start off, it sounds very tongue-in-cheek with the different names referring to their colours, red and blue, and then slowly it becomes affectionate.
Yeah, it goes from blue dubba dee dubba die to my dear mood in indigo.
Yeah, and I think what's the last one? The last one is
the cochineal joke was like, they said the first joke, and then they had the punchline 2 chapters later, where at the end of Red's next letter, she was like, "P.S. Oh, cochineal, I get it now."
Yes.
To my perfect Red, and it's just like the way that they open the letters starts to, and the way that they sign off the letters as well. So it starts out. It starts out with the first letter, which is, "Look on my work, ye mighty, and despair. A little joke, trust that I have accounted for all variables of irony, though I suppose if you're unfamiliar with over-anthologized, it is in American English, anthologized has a Z, with over-anthologized works of the early Strand 6th century, the joke's on me. I hoped you'd come. You're wondering what this is, but not, I think, wondering who this is."
Yeah.
And it signs off with "Better luck next time, fondly, Blue."
And then the last letter before they start addressing each other properly is "My heart's own blood."
Yes. Oh. And then the first letter from Red is "My most insidious Blue."
Yeah.
How does one begin this sort of thing? And that's when she starts referencing the book of letter writing that they reference the whole way through. "Address the reader, done. Discuss business, done, almost. I imagine you laughing at this letter in disbelief. I have seen you laugh, I think, in the ever-victorious army ranks as your dupes burned the summer palace, and I rescued what I could of the Emperor's marvelous clockwork devices." And then at the end it says, "I wonder which, where is it? Will you respond establishing complicity, continuing our self-destructive paper trail just to get in the last word? Will you cut off, leaving my note to spin its fractal math inside you? I wonder which I'd rather. Finally, conclude, this was fun. My regards to the vast and trunkless legs of stone, Red." The way that they refer to each other's agencies as well is hilarious. And the way that they write the letters is brilliant as well. Writing letters encoded in the math from a bubbling water scanned under MRI. And then, what was it? There was some other ones as well. Oh, it's so funny.
Oh, where's Atlantis? I love how the letter in Atlantis opens. I really do.
It's halfway through. It's so good.
Yeah. And that's Commandant. That's too far.
When they start talking about food, a few letters in, I was like, damn, this is starting to get really sexy. And they're just talking about food. But the way they talk about eating, because Red is from Technotopia and she doesn't have to eat, so it's a strange discovery thing that she's come across and enjoys over the years. I think I found it. Where are we?
Here we go. I found the second letter. Here's the first letter. I got it.
My local serves it right.
I tell you a secret. I loathe Atlantis. I hate Atlantis. It's amazing. It's so funny. But,
every last Atlantis across all strands. It's a putrid thread. Everything you've likely been taught about Garden and my shift should lead you to believe we treasure it as a bastion of good works, the original Platonic ideal of how a civilization ought to be. How many bright-eyed adolescents have poured the fervor of their souls into lives imagined there. Magic, infinite wisdom, unicorns, the gods themselves made flesh. The works we do to maintain these notions are more subtle than you might think, given the publishing peccadilloes peccadillos. I still don't know what that word is, but I had to Google it at the time. It basically means sins.
Oh, yeah.
20th centuries. What a robust priesthood Atlantis must have had to support so many earnest young things pitching their past lives in its temple. But what a dreary place. Stagnant, sick as a sucking wound. A successful experiment with disgusting results. The volcano was the best thing to ever happen to it. Now it's legend, possibility, mystery, a far more generative engine than anything it developed over a few thousand years.
But in saying that, the start of that chapter, from Red's point of view, is Atlantis sinks. Serves it right. Red hates the place. For one thing, there are so many Atlantises, always sinking in so many strands. An island off Greece, a mid-Atlantic continent, an advanced pre-Menelonian civilization on Crete, a spaceship floating north of Egypt, on and on. Most strands lack Atlantis altogether, know the place only through dreams and mad poets' madder whisperings.
Because there are so many, Red cannot fix just one or fails. Sometimes it seems strands bud Atlantises to thwart her. They conspire. History makes common cause with the enemy. 30, 40 times throughout her career, she has walked away from some sinking, burning island thinking, at least that's over. 30, 40 times the call has come, go back.
Oh, God. Yes, so you came in after we sort of discussed a little bit more about the plot. So we're sort of just talking about favourite bits at the moment. But it is. Look, to be honest, I think I got more out of it on my second read through because I knew the twist, which I semi-picked. I kind of figured it was going to be something along those lines, but I didn't pick who the seeker was.
I didn't pick who it was, but I picked around sort of halfway through. Once they start to suspect, I picked that it wasn't from either of the sides.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, maybe there's a third group that we don't know about. Maybe they're going to be recruited into like a third team or something.
And I kind of like the ending that I wanted from the very beginning. Once they start to get on, is for them to try and find a way to combine the strands so that both their futures can exist.
Yeah.
And
that's where I was sort of thinking the seeker was coming from, like that's maybe that third thing.
Yeah,
but the end was good.
I mean, we weren't wrong, but we weren't 100% right.
Yes. We are talking spoilers, Laurel, but we're trying not to give away the ending. As I try.
This is my favorite setup to a joke ever. Where are we? Have we done the yours bit? No. So it says, tell me something true or tell me nothing at all. Best Blue. P.S. I'm touched by the research effort expended on my behalf. Mrs. Leavitt's guide is a good one. Now that you've discovered postscripts, I look forward to what you do, to what you could do with scented inks and seals.
Okay, that's the setup.
P.P.S. There's no trick here, no thwart. Give my best to this strand's Genghis. We lay on our backs and watched clouds together when we were young. And that was a letter written in the rings of a tree as it had grown over like 100 years. Like the inventiveness of how they're writing the letters is just brilliant. It's like they've kind of both given up thwarting each other half of the time to find inventive ways of how to like send the next letter.
Yeah. Because it was send it in a way that if anyone's observing them from either side, they're not going to see it.
Yeah.
So they got to do it in secret as well. But so yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And then the next letter, because that letter, Blue. No, it was the next one actually. But then the next one is when It's the letter. So Blue is on like the Arctic with like a bunch of like seal clubbing style people in some sort of era where they clubbed seals. She clubs this seal and then she's cutting it up, and buried in the depths of glistening viscera is a dry piece of cod, undigested, scratched and grooved with language. She hardly realizes that she's settled her body onto the ice, cross-legged, comfortable, as if tea, not seal guts, streamed dark and fragrant beside her. She'll keep the pelt. The cod she'll crush to powder, sprinkle over rancidly buttered biscuit, eat for dinner. The body she'll dispose of in the when the secret comes hard and fast on her tail, all that's left is a smear of dark blood on blue snow. On hands and knees, she licks and sucks and chews until all the colour's gone.
So you know this seeker from day one.
Yeah.
So in the first letter, this seeker just appears as a shadow and collects like the little bits that are left of the letter to try to reconstruct. Obviously, it's technology we don't have. They're reconstructing these letters somehow. And so you don't know who this seeker is. And
so time we see it, it's like the letters cinders die, the shadow of a broken gunship twists, empty it fills. A seeker emerges from that shadow, bearing other shadows with her. Wordless, the seeker regards the aftermath. She does not weep that anybody can see. She paces through the wrecks, over the bodies, professional. She works a winding spiral, ensuring that with long practice arts that no one has followed her through the silent paths she walked to reach this place. The ground shakes and shatters. She reaches what was once a letter. Kneeling, she stirs the ashes. A spark flies up, and she catches it in her hand. She removes a thin white slab from a pouch at her side and slips it under the ashes, spreads them thin against the white, removes her glove, slits her finger. Rainbow blood wells and falls and splatters into grey. Oh, that's my phone. Oh, well. She works her blood into the ash to make a dough, kneads that dough, rolls it flat. All around, decay proceeds. The battleship becomes mounds of moss. Great guns break. She applies jeweled lights and odd sounds. She wrinkles time. The world cracks through the middle. The ash becomes a piece of paper with sapphire ink in a viney hand at the top. This letter was meant to be read once, then destroyed. In the moments before the world comes apart, she reads it again. Oh,
you just hit it, didn't you? Yes. Oh. Yes, that's why I went back and reread it, because I went, there's hints.
Oh my God, that's genius.
That's the end of the first chapter before you get to the letter.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't notice that the first time. Like I noticed it, but it felt like a kind of phrase.
Genius.
Oh my God.
And the whole book is, and you know what, I think too, just talk a little bit about the tension, because the rising tension in this is phenomenal. But I think it's not just a choice of wording, it's not just a choice of the situation, it's how they did it, because they have the action scene with a little bit of description, a little bit about what they're doing, them finding the letter, them moving on, the seeker coming and getting the remnants of the letter, and then you read the letter.
Yeah. And so you're going, who is this seeker getting these letters?
And oh my God, what are they going to talk about? The seeker's already found. What are they reading? You know?
Yeah. Oh my God.
All right. Yeah. You made Laurel's day.
Yeah, she's got us on mute. She didn't want spoilers.
Yeah. That's all good. And yeah, I hope your computer gets working better.
I can't believe that. I really I hadn't got around to rereading yet.
But that's why I think they've spent a lot of time. Okay, the first draft itself might have taken, it's a novella, I think it's around about 30,000 words. So it probably took them maybe a month to write, 2 months to write, but I think the editing process they went through, I think they took a long time with this. I would dearly know how long it took them.
I'm curious because
let me see if I can Google something.
From what they said on Writing Excuses, they were talking about, they had Amal on there. She was talking about the process of writing, and it sounded like they sort of pantsed through it. Or maybe they had plotted, I can't remember. And they were sort of giving each other the chapters, and then they would write the next one, sort of thing. And then they would give the chapter they'd written to the other person, they would read it and then write the response, sort of thing. But I can't remember whether they said whether they'd plotted it or if they were completely pantsing.
Yeah, see, I haven't listened to that that episode yet, so
I don't even remember what episode it was. So
I'm a bit behind. I'm a bit behind.
It could have been anywhere between season 13 and 15, to be honest. But they recommended it. It was the book of the week multiple times. So, and then it won the Hugo, and I think they did it as the book of the week again.
Oh, sorry, I jumped onto Goodreads because Amal has answered some questions.
Yeah.
And someone's written, please may I have some more? His answer, the book's been optioned for television. And Max and I are drafting a plot of the first episode, a pilot for the first episode.
Yes! Oh my God, if they make a TV show of This Is How You Lose the Time War and it is as good as the book. Oh my God. And that ending. Oh, they better only do one season though. They better only
it would have to be like Good Omens, self-contained.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, that's brilliant.
That's not why I jumped into here. I wanted to have a look to see no, how many pages. No, there's a lot of questions that he hasn't answered yet. I was hoping that he would maybe wrote something about the process, how they went through the process, but it doesn't seem to be anything there. But
my guess would be your best bet would just be to catch up on Writing Excuses, and they will talk about it at some point. I just can't remember what episodes it was.
Yeah, no, it's all right. I think I've downloaded everything up until the start of last year, so I just got to download last year's season, and I think I was re-listening from the start because I actually started listening to Writing Excuses the year it started. So I thought, I know they recommend start at like season 12 or something, but I'm starting from the start. I'm going back to my old friends. So I haven't had a chance. So.
Do they recommend starting at season 12?
Or something like that. They recommend starting because they did for about 4 years, they did like a character plot structure season. Yeah, and that's when they started getting more structural about it and more thought process. Yeah. But the first few years was just 3 guys sitting down chatting about writing books for 15 minutes. And
I started from the very beginning and just listened all the way through. Yeah. And it's really good.
Yeah, I'm very behind. I kept losing it. Like I listened to it for about 3 years and then I lost it for a few and then I went back to it and it sort of followed my writing. As I was writing, I would use it. I would listen to it, and when I stopped writing, I stopped listening to it. And I went through a stage where I didn't write for about 8 years. So when I was running my jewelry business. So
I only have about 20, no less, probably like 15 episodes left until
been in the last year or so that it would have been around about the Hugos, which was last year. Yeah. Because I actually met Howard at AussieCon.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you said I think.
Yeah, he he signed. I got the Slock Mercenaries, and he signed that one. And guess what's one of the sets of books that I lost in one of my moves?
Schlock Mercenary. No. Did Howard have pants on though?
Yes, he did.
That's slightly disappointing.
That wouldn't have let him in the building, I don't think. It was down in the city of Melbourne.
No, I mean, they're always making the joke about Howard not having pants on when they're recording because there's no video feed for anyone to be able to tell.
That's the point. He wanted to work for himself, so he didn't have to wear pants at home.
Yeah. Oh, so good. Yes. Best running joke, I think.
Oh, dear. That's great. That started pretty much from day one, that did. But,
my favorite is that when Mary came in from like the first episode, she was like in there batting the jokes about Howard's pants and like just ribbing them all, and it was so funny. Oh gosh.
Oh dear, yes. Anyway, yes, writing excuses. If you don't listen to it, guys, heartily recommend it. Not only is it funny, it's only 15 minutes long. Unless, of course, they have a special episode, like when they do like a live at the Comic-Cons and stuff like that. But it's really quick to get through.
Except that pretty much all of the episodes these days are 20 minutes long, but
that too. It's really only 15 minutes of content though, because they do put ads in the middle and they do intros and stuff like that, which I don't really think intros as part of it, but it's definitely a recommendation.
It's not so much ads anymore in the later seasons. The last like few seasons they've had Patreon. And so they plug their Patreon at the end and at the beginning.
I totally agree.
Still,
pants are definitely overrated.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh dear. Okay. Do we do the big spoiler? Guys, those of you that are actually watching, do you want to discuss the end?
Let's not, maybe. Or is it just Sui who's not muted? I don't know.
I look to spoil it because it's very hard to discuss how they how they tease it without discussing what happened.
I want to talk about the whacked seal because it is the funniest thing I've ever read. I think I read part of it earlier. So she gets
the letter.
Yeah, so she gets the letter on a piece of cod that's inside a seal that she has just whacked. After, at the end of the letter before, saying, I wonder what you'd do with scented envelopes and stuff. And then you get the next letter. My dear Mood Indigo, I apologize for, everything. It's been a long time from my perspective, and I'm afraid yours since your letter. I had another decade or so with Genghis, who says hi, by the way. He told me the most interesting stories about you, or I assume it was you. After action reports following, and after those, I had the usual sort of routine, regrading dance, an assessment wraps the whole thing up. I passed, as ever, the usual nonsense. I imagine you have something of the same. The agency squats far down thread, issues agents up, then commandant doubts the agents who return. Yes, we diverge in our travels. Yes, we acquire shades. We round. We basically, we behave asocially. Adaptation is the price of victory. You might think they would realize that. I spent the better part of a year recovering from your so-called sense of humor. Hoards and boards. I consulted the literature on scents and wax seals, as you suggested. It's all a bit counterintuitive, this business of communication through base matter. Closing a letter, a physical object, without even a ghost in the cloud. All that data in one frail piece of paper with an even more malleable substance bearing, of all things, an ideographic signature, informing any handler of the message's sender, her role, perhaps even her purpose. Madness. From an operational security perspective. But, as the prophets say, there ain't no mountain high enough. So I have essayed the work here. I hope you enjoyed your whacked seal. I didn't supply any extra scent, but the medium has a savor all its own. I got the joke around closing a letter, a physical object, without like closing a letter, like in the thing, and I was like, oh, it was in the seal. I have a sticky note that says waxed seal. This is the funniest thing I've ever read.
Yeah.
And then she finishes off the letter being like, I wonder if you're still reading after that. There's a kind of time travel in letters, isn't there? I imagine you laughing at my small joke. I imagine you groaning. I imagine you throwing my words away. Do I have you still? Do I address the air and the flies that will eat this carcass? You could leave me for 5 years. You could return never, and I have to write the rest of this not knowing.
Oh dear. And see, this is also a beautiful, beautiful example of humor in a quite a serious novel, but still a good amount of comedy to give you a good giggle.
Yes. There's so many funny bits. And this is like my favorite sort of like, and like it's in character humor. So it's like, I laughed so much when she addressed the letter. My dearest Blue Dubba D.
Laurel, well, from now on, you shall always be known to me as Captain No Pants.
Yes. Oh, where is it? I just skimmed past it. Dearest Blue Dubba D.
Oh, yeah.
A daring intrusion. Mad props.
Oh, dear.
Tries to kill Siri.
Oh, Siri. Oh, God, Siri.
So funny.
I'll leave you open to that because it's Blue. Because you do tend to see more from Red's point of view, in my opinion. But to me, Red is the protagonist.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Yeah.
Yeah, here it is. Blue approaches the temple in pilgrim's guise, hair shorn to show the shine of circuitry curling around ears and up to scalp, eyes goggled, mouth a smear of chrome sheen, eyes chrome hooded. She wears antique typewriter keys on her fingertips in veneration of the great god Hack, and her arms are braceleted in whorls of gold, silver, palladium, glinting brighter than bright against her dark skin. It goes on to when she actually gets down there. And then it goes, at the center is a boxy screen. It lights up as Blue approaches. Hello, I'm McKint. Hush, Siri. I'm here for the riddles.
Yes. This is another favorite, like, salutation and postscript. It says, Dear Red Sky at morning.
Yes.
And then postscript. Best Blue. P.S. Socrates, I wonder if we knew any of the same ones. P.P.S. I keep noting your name at night, but this salutation seemed wiser. I've learned to take warning from delight. P.P.S.
I've seen when they talk about Socrates, because there's a spot in there where I think it's Red's letter when they're talking about Socrates, how she says something along the lines of, I served with Socrates and you too, Senator.
Yeah, when they're in...
So there's just this subtle hint that in one of their past lives, they actually
were
time in contact with each other.
Yeah, they were in the same area at the same time because their paths have crossed before the first letter. That's why she knows who it is at the beginning.
Yes, yeah. Well, they recognize each other's. Yeah, but it seems to, but also too, I get the hint there that Blue didn't realize it was her.
Possibly not. Yeah,
because Blue is saying, I wonder if we knew the same Socrates. Yet in the next letter, she's saying, well, I served with him and you.
Yeah.
So there's this subtle hint that, yes, they have spent a lot of time in close contact with each other, but you never see it. which I love. I mean, you could unpack nearly every sentence in this book, I reckon. You know, to be honest, my literature teacher from high school would have loved this so much.
Yes. Oh, this would be a great book to read in high school. I love the.
What was I had to read? I had to read. It was a play based down in Mornington Peninsula somewhere. Hotel Sorrento.
Oh,
it's actually not bad. I don't mind it, but this would have kept me engaged for months. I could have written a Year 12 essay on this for my cats.
Oh yeah.
I'm old enough for them to have once been. They used to be called CATs, Common Assessment Tasks. I've got no idea what they're called now. But
I think they're called SACs. It's like
SACs.
School Assigned Course something.
Common Assessment Task.
Every few lessons at the end, there's another postscript that says something like this one that says PPPS. Of course, we're still going to win.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Shall we talk about the ending?
I think so. So I know Laurel has to disappear again to go to another class. So Laurel, if you're listening and we're not on mute, we are about to discuss the ending.
Massive spoilers alert.
Okay, it will spoil the first read, but I think when Charlotte goes back and rereads it, because I know she will, it'll actually cause a different kind of enjoyment. Because it certainly did with me.
Oh yeah, it's a reread book. I'm planning to reread it before I send it back to the library, or as soon as I get a copy. I
read the copy I printed off my Hugo pack. By the way, after reading this, I immediately went to the WorldCon 2021 and paid for my supporting membership so I could get this year's Hugo pack. $50 and you get the right to vote on the next WorldCon, and you get the right to vote on these. So you get a huge pack with everything in it. You can read everything, the comics, the magazines, everything that's been nominated, and then you can vote on it. Anyway.
So this book, not only through us getting library copies, has sold like 4 more copies between the two of us, with you getting Audible copy and another copy, and I'm getting a copy.
My Hugo copy, which was just an ebook. I had my Audible copy, and then I've gone physically and bought it because I want this to be sitting around for my son and my daughter to read when they're older.
And I'm going to go buy it. But it's also sold an entire Hugo pack based on one novella.
Hey, look.
So good.
When you think about it, the Hugo, if you are interested in science fiction and fantasy, the Hugo pack is the most cost-effective way to get yourself a pile. Anyway, let me look up last year's Hugo pack that I have. It had yes, I do have American Empire.
Oh no, that's not what I was going to say. I was going to say, did you get the Broken Earth, one of the Broken Earth ones?
No, that was one. To be honest, the first one I did, the AussieCon 4.
Yeah,
I think she was nominated for the Novella that year. Maybe. But I lost that pack because since then I've had about 5 computers and I've actually had crashes and whole failures and stuff, and cats spilling wine on top of Mac Airs.
Lovely.
Still dirty about that one, VJ, even though you're long gone. Okay, so I've got 17 categories: best novel, novella, novelette, short story, series, related work, graphic story, editor short form, editor long form, semi-prosine, fanzine, fan writer, fan artist, the Lodestar Award for the best young adult, outstanding award for the best new writer, best novel, best novella. Oh no, sorry, they're the zip files, and every one of them has 5 to 6 in each. And you pay $50 US.
Yeah, so definitely worth it.
Anyway, yes, that's my little rant because I love supporting the Worldcon. It's the longest running science fiction convention in the world. So
Where is it hosted?
Sorry?
Whereabouts is it, like the physical con when it's on? Is it America?
This year is in Washington.
Yeah.
Next year's in America again. Last year it was in New Zealand, but it was ended up being a virtual con in New Zealand last year. Aussie con, we've had it 4 times. Twice in Sydney and twice in Melbourne, I think.
Oh, nice.
What happens is you get different like groups. It's a not-for-profit organisation, but different groups band together and do like with the Olympics, how they promote their city, and you get to vote on where it's going to be.
Yeah,
nice. And so it's in America a lot, let's face it. But at the same time,
it bases over there and votes for America so they can go.
Yeah. And it's definitely been down here. It's been I think New Zealand 2 or 3 times now. As I said, because we call it AussieCon, obviously, AustraliaCon, AussieCon. It's been here 4 times. It's been in Europe a few times. It's been over in England. So, yeah, it goes all around the world. It is a true world convention.
Yeah. Oh, that makes so much more sense now when you think about the name.
Anyway, yes, the ending. Okay. Red gets called into her command station. They have discovered that she's walking
it's before that. Blue realizes that she has created a new strand of history that revolves around her. Yes. From all of the changes she has made to history, she has created her own strand of history, and that's what Command is.
Yeah,
Command
has been embedded into this stream.
Also in it.
Yeah, but she's been embedded into this stream, making something very, very important, and it's going to be it's effectively solidifying something that Blue's side. It's potentially war winning sort of down the track sort of thing.
Yeah,
and at the same time, Red's commander has discovered that Blue, who's done this thing for the enemy,
has woven Red into the end. Yeah.
Now, they believe, they don't know, Red walks in thinking they know everything. And it sort of gets twisted on its, and you're walking in there going, oh my God, what's going to happen to Red? But it works out that they just know Blue is interested in Red, possibly to subvert, and they want Red to initiate contact. So we're about 2/3 of the way through the book by now.
Yeah, it's funny because she doesn't break it all, but when they say they want her to initiate contact, you can tell that like a little part of her wants to laugh at the fact that they've already been in contact this entire time, and she's just really have no idea that they have been in contact this entire time because they are asking her to initiate contact, and she was just
it's gold. It's gold. Where is it? Okay, that's trying to catch the shadow.
I actually have a sticky note of the page because I have a sticky note that just says, "Oh no."
I love that sticky note. Here it is. Commandment summons Red to a field office. Okay, goes through a slight description of what's happening there.
It's one of the longest.
It is. Okay, she gets in there, get out. The commandment tells her staff, and out they go. She's torturing a man at the moment. The man remains. He does not make a sound. Perhaps he does not notice, or he hopes they will not notice him. For practical purposes, they are alone. Red waits. Commandment paces. Her hands are bloody. She does not seem to notice or care. Stolen worry lines her face. Those lines belong to the woman whose body Commandment now rides, but they suit her. The war has turned hard. Red imagines how those pliers would feel in her own mouth. Bit of foreshadowing. Closing around her own molars or canines, and decides if that's how this goes, fine. She keeps the flame inside her safe. We're in bad shape, the commandment says. Long, careful work on the adversary's part, traps up, thread, and down, all executed by a single operative, triggering a cascade. I'd call it brilliant if it hadn't put us so far on the back foot, but we count our blessings. Their new braid is weak. We can unpick it, and we will. And then it goes on to Red stands at ease, commandment's uncertainty on small point. This worries her. Should she be worried? Isn't she a traitor now? We've plotted a solution through math and cruder methods. She sets the pliers on the table, takes up a piece of paper and offers it to Red. Do you recognise this woman? It's not easy to remain at ease. She takes the paper and makes herself look at the charcoal drawing the way someone would, as if searching their memory for a face glimpsed across the battlefield then forgotten. It occurs to Red, as she ponders the face that dwells within her dreams, that this is longer than she's ever dared to watch this particular face in person, or even to linger on her memory. And it just, where is it?
So they go through, Commandant says the line that does it, which is where you realize, and you don't even have to know what this means, but you know what it means, even though it's sciencey jargon.
Yeah.
What do you suggest? Are you familiar, Commandant asks, with genetic steganography? And that's the point where I have this sticky note that just says, oh my God, no. So basically they're going to use Red to kill Blue and destroy the thread the new thread that she's created, the new time thing. And so then Red writes to Blue and says, shit, they know.
I know, yeah.
Do not, under any circumstance, read my next letter, because it will be, this is the plan, it will kill you.
Yeah.
Blue's response is the most heartbreaking letter, but also because it's just, dear Red, as you wish, be. And I was just like, she's not gonna do it. She's gonna read the fucking letter.
So yeah. And I love the letter. I love the form of the letter. I love the form of the letter.
Oh, and the way, then Red, so the steganography is the hiding the code, which is the poison within the letter.
Yeah.
And so they've hidden the letter in a plant that is obviously poisonous, because Red has designed it to be everything it says is do not eat me, I am poison.
Yes. Where is it?
For the poison to kill Blue inside the letter, and then she inside the letter that's hidden under the code, she hides another layer with her own letter that's oh my God, why do you do that? I told you not to read this.
Yeah, a plant, a curious cross, her master said, between hemlock and yew. Hemlock? Sits potted near a window, dark oily leaves, viciously elegant thorns, berries red as the half moon she digs into her palms every time she looks at them. The letter is beautifully composed. She is not. So it's like a taunt, absolute taunt. And so to cut it short, she eats it.
Yeah.
And you get to read the letter that Red put in there and has to assume that Blue is eating every berry on that tree.
She's put this code in there that is the letter if she does eat it. She tells her not to eat it, and then she puts the letter in that is, if she's reading it, that means that she's eaten it.
Yeah. Which literally starts to stop. Blue, I mean it.
Sad. It's so sad.
It is so sad. And then
because Blue is literally realizes she was like, if I don't eat it, then they'll realize that Red was the traitor. So this is basically the ultimate test.
Yeah. But also too, Blue doesn't, up to this point, Blue doesn't know if Red has really done this or if Red is being forced to do it.
Yeah.
They still are enemy agents.
Yeah. And she doesn't quite know whether it's Red or if it's the ultimate end to like gotcha sort of thing.
Yeah. So Red does go. Red finds her dead. She gets her last letter from Blue. And it is literally like the twist of you in me, the writhe, you're a whip uncoiling in my veins. I write between the rearing and the snap. Of course I write to you. Of course I ate your words. I will try to compose myself, to order myself into something you can read. I fall to paper and quill because there is no time now to do anything else. It is a luxury in its own way to do this, to write in plain sight, to write to the rhythm of what I feel happening. It's fascinating in its own way. It's everything I wanted from an enemy. I wish you could hear me clap. Brava, my pomegranate. Well done, 9 out of 10. I reserve a point always to encourage, reach, exceeding grasp. It does keep going, but effectively she's saying, I had to eat it. I had to read your words because they may have been the last letter you ever sent me.
But also the characterization of Blue builds up to the point where and the point where she says in the letter is, what you asked from me would have been worse than dying.
Yeah.
We would rather die than live in a world where she doesn't get Red's letters anymore. And Red's solution was, we'll cease contact. We'll never send letters anymore. We can still battle each other from afar, but at least we'll be alive and we can't communicate because they'll know and they'll find out and everything will go wrong.
And then oh God, okay, what's going on here? Oh, I know what my problem is. I have a cat butt on my keyboard. Just give me a moment.
And then the end of the letter is so heartbreaking. Thank you, Red. It was a hell of a ride. Take care, my Blueberry, my wild cherry, my foxglove. Yours, Blue. The way that they dress each other with the different coloured things.
I love that. I love how they use the different
Blueberry, wild cherry, poison, sweet poison.
And then Red, obviously, you don't really know how long Red spends effectively grieving.
I love this line. Oh my God, the opening of every chapter is brilliant, but then the next line, the opening of the next chapter is Red kills time.
Yeah.
The
layers you could unpack in those 3 words.
It's so good.
This book has gotten me out of my reading slump, I think.
Oh, it's so good because it's like it's killing time, but it's killing time, and you know that if she could, she would kill time.
Yes.
Black Seal, but even better. Oh my gosh.
But but she finds a potential letter, I guess you could call it. And she realizes something based on their correspondence.
She finds a sign in her killing time. She's walking through a random strand up from a random subway, and she sees a painting that is
boy in a bed by a window. One with his still breast, the other trails on the floor. He's beautiful. He wears blue trousers. Red staggers back against the wall. The window half open, the slumped coat beside the bed, the open box, hips turned half up. Every detail of pose is right, save only the absence of letter and the fact that the boy upon the bed in the mural does not look like Blue at all. For one thing, his hair is red.
So she sees this painting, which is she's never seen before, except that it is the exact way that Blue died and positioned herself dead, like before she died. And she realizes that Blue's dying image that she left was another message.
Yes.
And then, oh my god, it's so good. And then she, okay, spoiler alert, but I think it's just Sui who's not planning to read it anyway, or will probably forget. She realized, and then she remembers something Blue told her about getting sick as a child, and then way in the past they were talking about like the Aztecs or something like that, and smallpox, and there was this whole thing about on a certain timeline introducing the diseases earlier so that civilization is inoculated against the diseases that the white people are going to bring, so that when they arrive they have a stronger civilization and can like barter better and change the way the world is built. That foreshadowing, because then what Red does is goes back through and finds every piece of blue that she can absorb through all of the letters, so that she basically has blue in her, and then she goes into garden the way that Blue had said would the only way to be possible would to get to her like that would to be go up stem from within sort of thing. She full on breaks into the main of garden because she is recognizable as like having blue in her.
She's effectively coats herself in blue.
She goes into Blue's childhood, gives her a taste of the poison that they're going to use to kill her as a way, because she got sick as a 5-year-old child or something, like as a small child, and then she got better. So what she does is she's the one who makes her sick, and it makes her immune to the poison that they then use later.
But the other kicker is Blue's already done this for Red. Blue spent generations on a planet growing something, just growing something.
It was a trap for a very specific time agent, and she didn't know who it was. And
she wasn't even a time agent at the time. She was about 13 years old. She just left her, So she, and so she ended up sabotaging the trap to save Red. And the letter is Red saying thank you.
It's the crossing of the timelines, because by this point they're already sort of in love, and then Blue is guarding this trap for a time agent and sees the 13-year-old Red arrive after having heard this story that Red has told her of when she was 13. She left for the first time and heard about, was it Socrates or something, having an epiphany, and she went to find solitude and stood all night watching the stars. And she's guarding this trap, which is for a specific time agent, and then Red arrives and she realizes the trap she's guarding was for the 13-year-old Red, and she sabotages and kills the trap before it can kill Red. And it's just, it's so good. And then so Blue and then Red
doesn't turn for her. He saves her. So they end up saving each other's lives.
Oh, it's so good. And then Red is basically, she breaks into garden and then breaks out, having inoculated Blue. And then
gets captured by her own people who think she's turned.
Yeah.
And they know she hasn't turned, because if she'd turned, she would have stayed there. But they want to know what she did, why she did it, and how she did it.
And she refuses to tell them.
Yes. Hence the foreshadowing of the pliers in her mouth.
Yes. Oh, it's so good. But then so she's in prison being constantly interrogated, and it gets to the day where she knows like the next one they're just going to download and like force it out of her technically.
Yeah.
And the guard asks her a question, like why? And she starts to like suspect something, and the guard is asking like, why that
question? There's that question, and it's just perfect.
Oh, it's so good. Okay.
Here it is. The guard comes from her.
Here we go. Why are you doing this? Gruff, low, they aren't supposed to talk to prisoners. Red's always been one for small talk, and tomorrow's the end. Some things matter more than winning. The guard considers. Red knows the type. Idealistic but unskilled, hoping to rise through the ranks on dependability. Yet her defection loosened this one's lips. Blue would have been impressed. You broke into garden and out again, and you won't tell us how, so you're not on our side. Why not join them when you had the chance? Sell us out. So earnest, Red was that way once. Garden doesn't deserve us. Neither does the agency. By us, she means herself and Blue, wherever she may be, if in fact she is. She means all of them, all the ghosts on the threads dying in this sick old war, even this guard. Red gives her this truth at the last. Maybe it will save her life. The guard throws her into the cell anyway. Red hits the floor and skids. She lies still and does not look up. Something rustles behind her. The cell door shuts. All over soon. She did what she could. The guard walks away, boot thud echoing heavy, measured slow. When Red looks up, a small rectangle of white paper lies upon the floor. She scrambles towards the envelope, claws it to her name, handwriting she knows. She remembers the guard's grip on her arm, remembers that voice. Was it familiar? She rips the envelope open with her thumb and reads, and by the second line, her cheeks hurt from the fierceness of her smile. And then the last thing you read in the book is that last letter from Blue, which is, my dear, extremely red object.
Yeah. I didn't know what you would do. I want to explain myself, this self you've saved. But what I love the last line of Blue's letter, which is the last line of the book. This is how we win.
Yes.
We win.
How we win, Red, you and me. This is how we win.
Yes. But also, too, one thing we did skim over is Red is the seeker.
Yes.
So yeah. Charlotte's little conniption over that last line in the first chapter
was the word again.
She reads it again.
Because we know Red read the letter, right? We don't know
it only meant to be read once. So when the seeker is reading it.
And the line is, this letter was meant to be read once, then destroyed. In the moments before the world comes apart, she reads it again. Yes. And you think it's just a turn of phrase. Like it's being read for the second time. Like the letter is being read again. Then when you know how it is and you're rereading, you realize she is reading it for the second time, but she's the one who read it the first time.
Yes. Yes. It is just...
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Okay. The foreshadowing with the, inoculation against viruses plot thread.
Oh, perfect.
Timelines is so perfect. The foreshadowing with the pliers, again, perfect. This book is just perfect, and I can't deal. It's too good.
But what I think it is, though, too, is, okay, we do love a good chunky book, but because it's so slim, it has to be perfect. It can't be sloppy.
It has to make every word do double, and it does. There are so many lines that do multiple different things. And
this book, I'm going to reread this book at least once a year, I think. There's another novella that I love called After Dark, by oh God, I can never say his name, the Japanese author.
Murakami, I think it's called.
Yeah, I love him. I love his work. But After Dark, it's the same. It's just such tight writing. And if I could get anywhere near this, I'd be so proud of my book.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's just so good.
So what we might do is, well, we've kind of final thoughted it already. Yeah. Shall we discuss what's next on our list, and then maybe call it night, because it's getting close to pumpkin o'clock. I've been up since 4 o'clock again, so I'm getting a bit. Yeah. Pregnancy. What do you do?
Not get pregnant.
Yeah, well, bit late for that one.
Bit late for that one.
But definitely, I highly recommend this book. I even recommended. I spent about 10 minutes in QBD. Their system. I checked online before I went in there. They said they had a copy. I asked the young girl who was helping me. She said, we definitely have a copy. It's on the system. I cannot find it. And we're standing there in front of the sci-fi fantasy wall. Just maybe it's under the first author's name. No, maybe it's under the second author's name. Could not find it anyway. I said, it did win the Hugo. She went, I'm going to go check the actual literature side. Guess where it was, because it has quite literally on it. But as she gave it to me, she goes, is it good? I went, yes, read it.
When I take this back to the library, because I've got the library copy, I'm just like, this is one of the best books I've ever read. Because I asked them to get it for me, and I think they already had it, because I thought they were ordering it in specifically, and I was just thinking, oh, it won't arrive in time, and then it arrived. And then like
they've had it for over a year.
Huh?
If it's the first edition, they've had it for over a year.
Yeah, they must have. So they must have already had it, because she was like, oh, I can order it in for you. And I thought she meant the library can buy a copy of it, like that they didn't have a copy, because I hadn't checked their catalogue to see. And I was like, yeah, okay, thinking it probably won't arrive in time. Next thing, oh, your reserve is ready. And I was like, oh, I'll go grab that. And I had to make a special trip in to grab it before I came back, because it's shut on Sunday. I went in on Saturday just to pick it up. And, oh, it's so good. And I'm so happy I read it physically as well, because there were moments where I had to stop reading because I was laughing so hard. Wax seal.
I tell you what, though, the second time round when I listened to it on Audible, they've got two narrators. So they have Blue has her own voice, both in letter and action, and Red is her own voice, and it just works so good. I love that.
I opened to a random page, and this is my favorite as well, because it just shows character, but it's also so funny.
Yes.
Dearest 0000FF. And they rarely ever use the same like salutation twice. They're always inventing new things. So it's like, dearest strawberry, dearest raspberry, dearest red sky at night, dearest cochineal.
Yes.
Oh gosh, cochineal is hilarious as well.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, the wax seal.
I think they only use the same salutation the second time. Sorry, it's my son screaming in his sleep. They really only use it the second time is when Blue is dying, and she obviously.
Yeah. The only ones who use the same time is Blue and Red, and that's when either they don't know each other or it's deadly serious. Oh, Bobby.
I'm just seeing if he's going to go back down. He's had a bit of a bad dream, I think. Yep, Barbar's getting inserted. We're good. Yep, in it goes. We're good. Okay. Book for February.
I have it right here. Well, it's not mine. I've had it on loan for a year. Sorry, Ellie.
I picked it up the other day. I was so tempted. They had a copy of The Ocean at the End of the Lane, illustrated edition. I nearly grabbed that at the same time. I should have grabbed it.
Oh, I still have a bookmark where I was up to. I got pages in.
So, yes, we're going back to Neil Gaiman. Bit of Stardust. Sticking to the Novella.
Well, it's a novel, but it's a short novel. It's like 50,000, I think. Or is it a novella?
I'm not sure. Which one's this one's classified as? It's good.
I love Neil Gaiman's bio at the beginning of the book. It says, Neil Gaiman is a messy-haired white male author trapped in the body of an identical white male author with perhaps even less tidy hair. His book and comics have won many awards. He thanks you for your offer of a comb, but does not believe it would do any good. Despite being English, he lives more in America than he does anywhere else in the world, and is currently somewhere in his mid-40s. He wrote this book especially for you.
Yeah, it's about the same. It's just under 200 pages, so
yeah,
not sure if it'll be considered. I think it'd still be a novella, but I'm just taking off my pricing stickers because I've still got them on there. But yeah, so I must admit I'm really enjoying the short form at the moment.
Oh yeah, same.
I'm definitely enjoying short form at the moment. Finished that one. Got this one coming. I'm probably going to re-listen to After Dark at some point in the next month because I love that. And because I am driving back to work every now and, when my little fella's not home sick all week, I am driving back to work so I can listen to things in the car again, which is normally where I catch up on all my podcasts. I'm still so behind in it. But I also grabbed this too to try. The Slow Regard of Silent Things.
Ooh, Patrick Rothfuss, yes.
And I've been tempted to try his Name of the Wind, but it is
a chunk and a half.
So I want to try his writing first, and if I enjoy it, then I'm going to go and get the big one.
Yeah.
So, and the other book in my book haul was one I showed before.
Oh.
Amy wants to read.
Yeah.
I'm not into YA, but it's all about Greek mythology, and I'm down for that shit. So, oh, Greek.
Like the audiobook of Stardust. Woo! Borrow, thank you very much. Because I was struggling to get into this, but I might read a couple of chapters on audio and see if that helps get me in.
Yeah. Oh, I do that too, And also too, I bought the physical book, but in saying that, there's nothing stopping me from getting Audible.
Yeah. Well, I just found it on my library. It's loading.
I never got my library app to work.
Oh, this is the BBC Radio 4 full cast dramatization version.
Ooh.
I wonder if
good. The Lord of the Rings one was very good. The BBC one.
Yeah. Well, it is a BBC one. I'll have a look on I've got like 3 library apps. I'll have a look if any of the others have them. So Libby had the BBC one. I don't remember whether BorrowBox had it or not. I can log in on BorrowBox on like 3 different libraries. Libby, I can only log in on one library because the other ones don't have it. But I'll have to do a bit of a check. Anyway, I've got this one. I'm going to call up my local bookstore in Kyneton tomorrow and support hardcover for me if they can get it.
They've got both options on Audible. They've got narrated by Neil Gaiman.
I want that one. Thank you. Yep, that one. I would like that one. Yes.
I now have 1 credit done. Okay, I know it's not the done thing in some circles, but I love it when an author narrates his own writing or her own writing. Because I don't give a shit about male characters and female characters. To me, it's the author knows what they intended, so they, it's okay. They might not be professional audio actors, but they know the passion behind them reading it.
Neil Gaiman, I love him reading his own stuff.
Yeah.
Some other authors, maybe not, but Neil Gaiman, if it's a Neil Gaiman read version of a Neil Gaiman book, I want it.
Yeah. I just
Coraline
love his
read by Neil Gaiman is excellent.
Sorry?
Coraline read by Neil Gaiman is excellent.
I want to get the I saw a comic novel version of it actually. Graphic novel version of it. Sorry, not comic novel, graphic novel. And I was so tempted, but I ended up getting a series of The Witcher instead at the time. And now I'm like, I should have grabbed Coraline. But why are you not? I want to purchase. Thank you. Done. That reminds me, I've got to get onto Audible and upgrade my account because apparently they're finally allowing Australians to have 2 credits per month. Yes. I don't know how long that's been going for, but for about $28 a month, you get 2 credits.
Look what I just bought the other day because I was in a bookstore and I remember Hannah talking about it and I was like, that sounded good.
You got Neuromancer. I haven't read that in so long.
I've never read it, but I'd heard the opening line quoted so many times, which is, "The sky above the port was the color of television tuned to a dead channel."
Yeah. I'm not sure. We should actually read that in a couple of months. I am not entirely certain it survived time. Not the way Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep has, but I'd be very interested in rereading that one. It's been so long. You know what? To be honest, I read it when I was about 13 years old. I didn't even understand it at the time.
It's a noir, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's a noir, and it wouldn't surprise me if there's some sort of characters with views that are now slightly outdated sort of situation.
I would believe.
I would kind of expect that, given it's one of the first cyberpunk novels that ever existed.
It was the first cyberpunk novel. It created cyberpunk.
Yeah. That opening line is amazing. Oh gosh. What do I want? I want something. I don't know what I want though. I have an eBay keep cup now. Random. Like an official branded eBay keep cup from eBay as a congratulations on getting through the pandemic present.
I'm going to have to log on online to update my membership, but yes, that means that my husband gets a point and I get a point, and we don't argue about books.
Oh, I forgot that. I don't use my credits every month, and I just let them build up, so I still have heaps of credits. And I found a book that I wanted the other day and bought it straight away because it was a book that I wanted. It's a non-fiction one, actually.
I tend to get the ones for David because I know what he likes, which is quite literally anything Titanic.
Yeah.
So if something crops up, I'm like, oh yep, I'll get that. But yeah.
There's a heap of free stuff that comes in every month as well. I've downloaded a bunch of those.
Yeah, no, I do like Audible. I mean, okay, the issues with Amazon and that notwithstanding, but just the access to being able to get these books on Audible and not have to pay $80 for a CD copy.
Yeah, Amazon is a bit of a shit show, but I love Audible, even though it's owned by Amazon. I'm just like, audiobooks that are just, they have everything.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay. I think we might start calling it a night. Oh, yum.
All right. I'm being proper bougie tonight.
Oh, Sue.
I had lunch today. I'm proper millennial.
So there is an extremely good chance we've got them. Everything. I struggle every year because I like to buy a book for every member of the family on Christmas Eve, as the part of the gift. Right. And I struggle every year to find something new. I really do.
I had brunch today in Frankfurt, and the cafe menu for smashed avo. But the start of the menu said, "Because who needs a house anyway?" And I was like, "Yep, sold."
The problem is with smashed avos is all I think now is of the Wiggles song. They call it smash avo.
Oh gosh,
Eat it for brecco.
I've not seen it. And I feel
jump on the Wiggles YouTube channel and just look at smashed avo. It's classic. And there's also a song about broccoli.
Can we send that link to Bethany with no context?
I think we need to.
Suey, do you want to find that Wiggles video of broccoli and send it to Bethany, just saying regards from Chaos Crew?
Oh God.
And I feel like Bethany might watch this back later. She sometimes watches the replays of the book chat. And be like, "You bastards." Hi, Bethany.
You need to try the honeycomb one, apparently.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of honey yogurt. It's all right, but if I'm going to make honey yogurt, I would rather just get plain yogurt and add honey because I've done that.
Yeah. So send us a photo I've got the cubes that used to be here, all the big, the 4x4 cubes. 3.5 of them are full of Titanic books. not just the the non-fiction stuff, but some of the picture books, some of the fictions, like A Night to Remember, all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
It's an obsession.
Yep. Sue is on the case. But yes, we have gotten here right at the end. We are sort of winding down, getting ready to go to bed because I've been up since 4 o'clock and it is now 10:15.
Yeah.
But just for you, our book next month is going to be Neil Gaiman's Stardust. So you're always welcome to join us.
Baby Yoda in the house.
Oh, hello, young man.
Good morning. Good morning.
I hope you're doing okay on Sun Island. It's not doing so well over there.
I haven't looked at the news. I don't want to.
No, it's one of the knitting podcasters I watch is in Ireland. So, yes.
Because I follow is in Ireland as well, but she hasn't been posting really much about lockdown because she's just at home with a new baby at the moment. So,
yep.
She's been posting about that. That being said, I think that's partly because she's gotten to the point with lockdown and stuff where she just needs a distraction.
Yeah.
Posting about it all the time would not help.
No, and knowing what it's like with a newborn at home, the last thing you want to know about is the world coming to an end, so to speak. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Well, it's been a while. It's been a while, Eva. I haven't been live much, but I'm going to increase lives this year again. I don't have to edit them.
Yeah.
Because it took me all day to edit that last video of mine. And and even then I only lightly edited it. So
it was an hour long, so
yeah, I only cut out about 20 minutes.
Oh, you cut out 20 minutes. I did not notice that point.
Yeah. Just doubling up on stuff and not being able to talk because it was 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. When you said that, I was immediately commented go back to bed, woman. You're insane.
Yes, Suey, it is. It is the broccoli bunch.
Oh gosh, the broccoli bunch. I wonder if I have power to rename the Discord. That might get my powers suspended.
You probably will.
No, I know what to do. I'll make a channel. I'm gonna make a channel called the Broccoli Bunch, and Bethany's gonna wake up and discover this new channel and be like, "What the fuck? Who did this?" Oh gosh. From book chat into let's lightly mess with Bethany chat.
We love you, Bethany. That's okay. I'm fairly certain this Broccoli Bunch. Sorry, I'm just double checking. I can't check my my watch history because it is just so screwed. Half of it's the Wiggles, half of it is about half the Wiggles, about 2/5 is knitting, and the other 3/5 is all the tube. So yeah, it's everywhere.
There is now a channel in Bethany's Discord server called the Broccoli Bunch. And someone should go post that video in it. And send it to the Broccoli Bunch channel on Discord, Sui.
Hang on. It's in the James Cafe ones. Hang on, let me just make sure I don't press play. Yeah, Broccoli Bunch. That's it. Yes. And then there's avocado. Oh god.
Bethany, if you're watching this back,
I love you.
We've been plotting maniacally in your absence.
All I can recommend is, look, to be honest, I do understand her hatred of broccoli to a point, because we used to have this guy that I used to work with. He was a lovely guy, but he was a fitness nut, and he used to eat broccoli for lunch, which was fine, no problem. But he used to stick it in the microwave, didn't he?
Oh.
Oh my god, the smell that used to come out.
I thought you were going to say he used to stink up the office after eating it.
He used to stink up the office with the microwave. Oh my god, the smell. Wow.
But you were going to say he would be really gassy afterwards.
Well, he probably was too, but he didn't sit close enough to me for me to notice that. But yes, we definitely all the microwave.
Office from the microwave, so you couldn't tell.
Oh god, it was foul. Oh, I just even thinking now it turns my stomach.
Okay, so anyone who doesn't like broccoli, I would argue, is doing broccoli wrong.
Yeah, I quite like broccoli, but yeah.
You gotta have it like nicely steamed so it's still a little bit crunchy with like lemon juice, and then it's amazing.
Hot boiling water, dunk it in for about 3 to 5 minutes, then immediately chuck it in ice cold water so it doesn't get soggy.
Mm-hmm.
And when you pull it out, a little bit of lemon. Pine nuts also go very well with it. And you're done.
Yeah. In fact, cauliflower and broccoli pie is amazing. Just broccoli pie is amazing. It's like broccoli and cauliflower with bechamel cheese sauce.
Oh, yes, baked broccoli. Baked cauliflower and broccoli with the cheesy sauce on top.
Mm. Oh, so good.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone who's here who's not familiar with why we're ragging on Bethany and broccoli at the moment, Bethany,
just go watch her latest vlog.
Go watch her latest vlog. She goes on a rant about broccoli, and it's so funny. Oh my god, twin name broccoli. Brandon, go watch Bethany's latest vlog. It's so funny.
Oh yes, it is. It's worth it. And just the awkward eye contact while she's massaging her kale just got me.
Oh, that's what that reference was to.
Oh,
see, several days ago, and I need to rewatch it because a lot of it has left my very bad short memory.
Well, at the moment, I'm in the middle of Becca's video about her super secret project.
I'm going to watch that tomorrow. Yeah.
I tell you what, though, I'm having an existential crisis because I've always intended to do my own book covers. Okay? But damn, I love that cover for Wild Spirit.
It's really good.
I'm almost tempted to, because she does commissions. I'm almost, because I looked her up. I looked up the cover artist. I'm almost tempted to message her, get a commission of the artwork, and use it myself in a book cover. Oh God, it's beautiful though. Oh, I actually ordered a copy. It's on its way. I should get it next week. I can't wait. Because I want to see the inside too. Yeah, also, want to support fellow YouTubers, but I want to see that inside because Enchanted Ink did it.
Oh, Enchanted Ink. I knew it was something.
So yeah.
My brain was thinking it was Caro's production company.
No, Natalia. Natalia did it. I think she's had 2 people do it. So maybe someone did the illustrations or something, and then someone else did the setup. I'm not sure, but yeah, God, it looks gorgeous. It just looks like a beautiful piece put together. Like once again, it's a YA. I'm not even sure I'm even going to read it, but it's there for my kids when they get a bit older. So I'm all for them to have diverse library when they're older. But
yeah. Don't mind me, I'm just licking yogurt out of a bowl.
Now live on the Broccoli Punch.
Now, we laugh, but I could also create a voice channel called the Broccoli Bunch.
Yes, that was eye contact. Oh yeah. I was trying to watch it, and my little fella was napping, and like he spent a lot of time napping on me this week because he's not well again, and I did, and I was trying not to piss myself laughing whilst watching it. He was asleep.
So, Broccoli started about a year ago, and I can't remember how. I think it was probably through Danny because he met everyone first. Yes. But the first video I watched of hers was one of her first ones, and it was like 5 things to do during lockdown or something like that. And
that was one of the first of hers I watched too.
He did the most amazing joke about Skillshare that before the video had even finished, I had laughed so hard that I'd already liked and subscribed. And then I replayed the video to show my housemate because I was like, no, you don't understand. You have to watch this. And Brie watched it. And then, because she like full on, she's like, if you don't know how to make candles, I don't know, take a Skillshare class. Speaking of Skillshare, they have not sponsored this video. Are you kidding me? I have like 20 subscribers. And the way that she delivered it, Brie was like, oh yeah, I full on thought she was going to go into a sponsorship there.
Actually, have you guys been getting the new Skillshare ads?
I think I've gotten a couple, but I don't know.
Okay. So I did try Skillshare. I signed up for when they had the 1 month trial. I signed up and I did a couple of courses. I won't mention the courses I did, but I did them and I was not entirely happy with them because the format is it's videos. It's a bit like the masterclass. It's a video. And then you get some work, or you get a workbook, and you can choose to share what you do or not. So you can do, or you just watch it. Like I just watch them. I very rarely do the tasks in any of those sorts of workbooks or anything like that. I even rarely used to do it when I was at school. But the new ads give the impression that you're now live with the teacher.
Oh,
so they have like famous, like they have actors and writers, and they have famous artists doing other stuff, and but talking directly with the teacher, and you're like, Skillshare doesn't do that I'm aware of, unless they've updated themselves.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's a little bit of this advertising there, or giving you the impression that it's there. Look, there is some stuff in Skillshare that I would like to learn, like to take some courses and that, but I'm not going to spend the money on it.
Yeah, neither.
Skillshare is there for people that can't be bothered doing the research themselves.
I saw today that a certain person, author that we have discussed a lot and remains unnamed as yet, I believe. We had the book on the list of books with the note of let's not do this one. That person has Skillshare.
The joke book. Yes, the joke book. Yes. I remember that one.
Yeah. I saw today that person has Skillshare, and I was like, well, I know what I won't be signing up to take. Oh gosh.
But look, I'm sure there's some great classes on there. Like I was looking up what they had in the way of cover designing, just to sharpen my skills a little bit. And there is a couple there that actually might be interesting to take, but I'm not signing up. I think it's for us, it's $110 a year, and you have to pay the whole year.
No,
one whole year. Yeah, it's not pay per month for us.
I'd rather have masterclass and then at least be able to fall asleep to Neil Gaiman. So
yeah, exactly. But anyway, guys, we've stayed on for about half an hour longer than we intended.
Laurel
it is, but you get to choose what you do, and you don't have to do the work. You can just watch the shows. Like, to be honest, you want to learn about writing, go watch the Brandon Sanderson lectures that he put up for free, because they are brilliant.
Good.
I'm about halfway through them. I started them a while ago. I've got to go back and restart them, I think, because it's been a long time. But they are, brilliant.
I just saw Sue's message in the broccoli bunch. Yes, Laurel is curious. So this started about April last year when we had a very long chat. No, it started on Emmy's first stream. There was a author that she didn't want to name because she didn't want to start shit. And then we ended up having a long chat about it when we weren't live anymore. And since then, it's become a thing that pops up in our group chat every now and then, is we'll be talking about this stuff. It's so funny. But because it's been patterned so long, not naming who it is, it's
but also too, like I actually agreed with Emmy, which I think was very surprising for her, because I don't think she thought anyone actually agreed with her opinion.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I do. I agree.
So it's a very popular person who we don't know personally. It's a book that I feel like has had a lot of yes men response to it from the fans. And then there's certain people who are just like, hold on a second. Are you not reading the same book that I'm reading? Because this was not.
I don't think that word means what you think it means. Yeah, classic Princess Bride. I don't think that means what you think it means.
Basically, without saying who it is, the problem that we have and the rant that we have is that with this huge platform, this person gives a lot of writing advice that then in the work that they're selling, they have not taken. And so,
and that's why you won't see me give writing advice, except for go listen to Writing Excuses, go watch the Brandon Sanderson stuff, go read as many books as you possibly can, because to me that's how you learn. But also too, I'm no expert. I'm not going to sit here and do the 10 best bad guys.
No, it's even better than that. It's like the 10 worst things to do in your book. And then in her book, she's done a lot of them.
But no, it's
not here.
And look, it's each to their own. We all read different things. Like, as I said, I'm not a huge fan of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, yet it is still on the bestseller list. It deserves to be on the bestseller list. But I personally didn't connect to it.
This week.
Yeah.
It was like this week. But no, the reason that we haven't named who it is just because we don't want to start any sort of like drama about it. And honestly, we don't care enough to start drama about it. We just find it as a funny thing that like, oh, this person says all of this at writing advice stuff, but like they're
Let's be honest here, guys. Let's be honest. Those of you that are in the chat, you're all writers. You know what I'm about to say. Your first book sucks. It will always suck. I am fully aware that the book I am putting out is the best book that I can do now. But in 5-10 years' time, I bloody fucking hope I'm going to be 10 times better. So you do have to learn. You do have to put things out and learn. But you don't put things out, tell other people to learn, and
not do those things. It's the best book in the world. Oh gosh. But yeah, the fact that it is someone who is like a writing advice thing should narrow it down pretty much for you, and it's a very big platform.
But in saying that, each to their own.
Yeah, like fair shtick. Like you make videos that you like, they're probably like really good advice in some things. I just find it incredibly amusing and incredibly like ironic that then the person is selling books that don't do the things she's told everyone else to do.
Yeah, but see, the thing is though, there too is that happens around the world. Like, you see when you're watching YouTube. I haven't got them a lot so much now, but when I first started watching AuthorTube videos, I used to get a lot of, this is how you build your emailing list. You pay $1,000 and I'll give you all the details. It's like, no. All I have to do is go Google the details and aggregate my own learning, and I'll have exactly what you're going to tell me without paying $1,000. But it's people relying on, I don't want to say lazy, people just not knowing. It happens a lot in the crafting industry too, in like the Etsy world and stuff like that. There's a lot of people trying to sell you a business model. And they are literally selling you their personality. And the business model itself is not rocket science. It's not deep, dark secrets. It's just the basic stuff that nearly everybody knows. It's just they've aggregated it into a teaching class, but they don't necessarily do it themselves because they're selling marketing material. They're not selling crafting.
It's like, would you like from the internet?
Yeah, they're selling an aggregated information. They're not selling themselves doing the craft. Does that make sense? And I kind of take this with that situation is, the advice they give is actually pretty good.
Yeah. I just would not invest money in their books.
No.
From the reviews that I've heard from people going into details, I'm just like, yeah, that would annoy me too. I'm going to avoid that. But then there's heaps of other people who love the books. So, I mean, fair play. Like, you do your thing, sort of thing.
Yes, Sue.
Part of the reason why we haven't said who it is, because like we recognize there is an audience for that, and we don't want to shit on that necessarily.
People want instant answers. They want instant answers. That's exactly it. They think they can not go through the hard yards, and a lot of people sell that, and it's everywhere. It's not just in the writing community. It's, as I said, it's in the crafting community. It's in the entrepreneur community. It's everywhere. Do you know how many ads I get for, wait, stop there. I know you want to sell on Amazon, but if you're doing it from Australia, you must listen to what I have to say. And you just sit there going, honey, I have no fucking interest in buying something for China for 2 cents and selling it for $5 to people in Australia. Why am I even getting this ad? Oh, I hate those ones. Can't stand them. But yeah, but that's the thing is people sell. There's the awkward eye contact. People sell the fact that they've gone and gotten the information and put it together. That's what they're selling. They're not selling the fact that they're actually talented. They're selling the information, which is a legitimate business.
Yeah, it's the same get-rich-quick schemes, and the get-rich-quick scheme is start a company that teaches people how to do get-rich-quick schemes.
It's all about, well, okay, this is the big one. This is the big one in the crafting community. So, you know, if you're sitting at your jeweler's bench making jewelry, okay, you get an advertisement for someone to say, learn how to scale your company. They're selling the marketing techniques that we could be using as authors, because we have Amazon, Ingram, Spark that print our books and send them out to customers. We don't have to touch it.
Yeah.
But the difference is they're selling products that a factory in China would make 50,000 of in a week. So they can scale their companies ridiculously, but they market in a way that makes it sound like the poor mum with 3 kids hanging off her knee who's making rings every night to sell on Etsy can scale the same way. And they just leave out fine little differences that, okay, can you tell this pisses me off?
They're trying to tell you all of this stuff that won't actually work, and that actually you could get better advice in a free podcast called The Business of Making, which I just passed on the recommendation to Kate Kavanagh the other day because she was asking for business podcasts. And I was just like,
amazing. Aren't they amazing?
Oh, it's good. I've only listened to like 1 or 2 episodes because I'm not in like starting a creative business sort of setup yet. And I'm still considering whether it's something I want to do. When I start looking at merch and when I start looking at making stuff to sell, possibly on Etsy, then I'll definitely get back into it. But I've listened to a couple.
Well, when you get to, I think it's about episode 25 or 30 in that area, you might hear a familiar name. Because I'm one of their Patreons, so I got a shout out on their channel. Yeah. And we're sitting in the car, we're driving to do the food shop, and it was on. And David goes, wait, what? I went, oh, yeah, rewind. That was the shout out. That was my paid shout out. But, yeah. But as part of your kickback as being a patron, yeah.
It's the same as, like, Kate's Patreon. The patrons will shout out in the next video.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's just, but it's on Business of Making, and I'm just like, Actually, I think it was on one of their chats about, was it one of their chats about their survey? Oh God, I think it was. It was around about the survey. When you get to the business survey, the data is amazing, because they got last year, they're doing it again this year. They got around the world, they got crafters to send in details about, how long they've been working for themselves, what kind of things they make, jewelry, candles, that sort of stuff, how much they earn, whether or not it's enough to live off, all sorts of data. And it's really interesting to hear, like, you don't have to, okay, we see it here in the we see it here in the author community about people talking about 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever. In this survey, they're actually saying it's actually surprising that people can earn a decent living. It doesn't have to be 6 figures, but a decent living to pay their bills doing what they want to do. And that to me is very, very encouraging.
I had a very similar conversation with a friend of mine today who I caught up with, because I'm writing a cabaret, and I had been thinking of her recently, being like, oh, she's one of the people I want to ask to get on board as crew, as like a dramaturg, outside eye director sort of person. And then she messaged and was like, when are you back? Let's catch up, because we'd seen each other a few months ago, and I think she knew that I was up for Christmas up in the country. And we've been planning to catch up and get coffee and just hadn't made plans. And I was like, I'm back. I'm free Friday. Let's do it. So then I ended up at her house most of the day today and we were planning stuff. And so we sat down to properly go through the cabaret thing because I'd sort of told her the idea and she's like, yes, I'm in. I'll produce and do everything, basically, which is amazing. And one of the first questions she brought up, which she didn't even finish the question, and I was like, yes, we're on the same thing, was something along the lines of, there's this weird attitude that pops up every now and then in performing arts and theatre making and stuff, where people sort of go into it expecting not to make any money, so they don't try to make money. And I was just like, no.
The stuff, I fucking hate that thing.
Yes. And I think it's partly fueled by the partly fueled. I've tried to words, it didn't work. It's partly fueled by this social mythology that exists of, oh, you shouldn't go into that, you'll never make any money. And so they don't expect that they're ever going to make money, and they go into it for the passion and they go completely broke. But the thing is, it's not impossible to make money off a show if you do it well and if you do it right and if you get the right people to produce your show. It's not impossible to make money off it. And so that was one of the things I said. I was like, yes, I want to do like profit share at the very least. Because and like for some roles, if I get in a particular person I know who I want to do a lighting design, depending on what venues we get to and what iteration the show gets to, I would like to properly hire her with like more than just like profit share. Depending on what the profit share split is looking at being. But the other thing we're doing is, because it's like a one-woman show with just me writing and performing most of it, and Emma is gonna like take on most of the production stuff, we might get Stephen to do marketing, or we'll get like a friend to do the marketing materials and then like promo and stuff. But we keep our crew at like 3 or 4 people. And depending on the venue, she can also operate and stage manage during the show runs, which means it's very small, very tourable. We have a split of all profits from the show between like 3 or 4 people. And we can tour it around all the different festivals. That's how you make money in the arts. That's how you make a freelance career as an artist, is having the people who think like that and who go, it's not impossible. You just have to know where to look and what to do. And I think the problem that we have for a lot of young artists coming through is that information isn't readily available. There's not a lot of good guides on how to do it properly.
No.
And there's also a social narrative that actively says the opposite.
And also too, it's the same in the crafting community. There's this big problem about devaluing work in the crafting community, and people devalue their own work. So when you first, this is the story that a good 60 to 70% of crafters will tell you. They started selling their insert item because it was a hobby that they enjoyed, and a family or a friend turned around to them and said, you should sell this. So they started selling it to family members and friends at cost. So then they go, oh, this is good enough for me to put on Etsy or create my own website or go to the local market with. So they go to the local market, they don't put their prices up. So when you're selling at cost, you're not taking into account the electricity we are currently using to run this, the internet bill. I have a website. I pay for my hosting. What else do we pay for? The incidental? Oh, computer. I'm going to have to upgrade my computer soon. It's not coping with what I'm pushing through it. But it's these costs don't get included into the cost of the item they're selling. So they end up trying to make 100 products and selling them at $5 because they don't think they're worth more, when really, when you take into account labor, actual cost, it might be a $50 product.
Yeah.
And actually the business of making, the girls talk about this a lot because it's a big bugbear of theirs as well. Because it's I do want to do another chat. Maybe we'll set it up for next week or the week after. I want to do one about being paid as a creative.
Yes.
And actually talking about this.
We already had this conversation that we needed to do.
Had this conversation with Em because I want to get Em on as well, because Em comes from she actually does work creatively in her job, but she also has graphic design training, so she knows the shit you have to do to get that stuff. And I do want to get. I might try to set it up for next week. We'll have a chat offline, but I do think this is very important to note. Is that it's very, and this is why I get a bit icky when I see the people advising, "I'll make your first book free."
See, I understand that, but I don't
marketing channel. But you only works if you have 10 other books to sell.
Yeah. So you don't do it until you've got other books out.
But the problem is people have 2 books out. They make one free to try to get more sales. They're devaluing their work, in my opinion.
I get it for promo periods for like a short amount of time to boost your analytics a little bit. But having promo free is, unless you've got a huge catalog, like Becca C. Smith has Riser free, and she's actually taken off Amazon free now, and it's now free when you sign up to her newsletter.
Yeah, which that's different to me. That's a freebie for signing up to the free. But
when I got it was free on Amazon.
It's 99 cents to me. Okay, look, when it comes to books, we're in a very unique position with books because they're reproducible. So you can actually write off a certain amount. You can say, well, okay, this book cost me, I think I did the maths for Where is Baba on my Patreon account. I can't remember if we talked about it on here or not, but I did do sort of the maths, and I said, well, I think I'd spent about $700 on getting Where is Baba up. Yeah. And that includes the stock that I have for signed copies, which I still haven't sold all of them. So they're stock. They're still sitting here at the end of this financial year. I am going to have to write them off as stock because they're still sitting here. They haven't sold. They're not never going to sell, but I've got until they sell, I have to keep them in storage. I have to look after them, make sure they don't get damaged, all that sort of stuff. They're an asset. And but normally when you make something in the crafting world, you've got this formula. I do have it written down somewhere, but you've got this formula. And so you can say, look, the cost of materials, how much time you take, how much you want to pay yourself effectively, and overheads, and you end up timesing that by 2.5 to get your wholesale value, and then you times that again by 2.5 to get your retail value. So a product that might cost you $5 to make, not including your labor, well, if you're selling for $5, you include your labor. Say it takes you an hour to make, you want to pay yourself $20 an hour, which isn't a huge wage in Australia. So you're looking at $25 times by 2.5, $75, times by 2.5, and you're selling this product for $5. But then, and I used to do markets, so I heard this nearly every time. Why does your chainmail cost $80 when that jeweler over there is selling beaded jewelry for $5 each? People don't know the value of what you're doing. And because there's other people in the market selling products that look similar for a fraction of the cost,
they're like
market as a whole. And that's where I get worried when I see permafreeze and I see very low-costed books. And yes, okay, they're an ebook. You don't have to reproduce them. Keep it price low, sell. Don't do what the big traditional companies are doing and selling it for $12, $15 for an ebook. But selling it for 99 cents, $1.99, or even $2.99 for a novel, means that people are going to look at that $2.99 and then they look at someone else's $5.99 and go, well, that one's cheaper. I'm going to go get that one. But it doesn't take into account any of the work behind it.
Yeah. There's so many layers and so many ways that the same sort of things affect different areas of the arts. It spreads every aspect of the arts in different ways. It's really fascinating because the same thing for theatre. I was talking to my friend today. Like I've worked for profit share ones where I know going in I might not make anything, or I might make $50, $100 for the 30, 40 hours that I put into the show. Probably more than that, actually. But then I've also worked, and this was when I had a moment where I was like, okay, this is the last show I go into that I'm doing for free. Because I watched the process of this show, and I was coming in as a crew member, as a professional lighting designer to do this show. Yeah, it was only at Butterfly Club, and that's really easy to design for, but still.
You were still brought in as a professional.
I was brought in as a professional, and like I understand amateur companies not paying the cast because they're volunteering and auditioning for shows all the time that they're not getting paid for. But when it comes to professional crew that you need that professional experience, you should at least be offering an honorarium, particularly when it's a company that is making a profit on this show and just pocketing all of it. So like literally all of the profits went into the company. Everyone who put all the effort in to make the show happen, no one got paid. And I was coming in as a sort of outsider in this group, and I was like, this is A, the last time I work with this company, and B, the last time I do a project for free, because I want at least the acknowledgement that even if we don't make any money, if we do make money, we're going to give you like a small percentage of that. I don't want to necessarily have the biggest share if I'm not doing the biggest amount of work, but I want that acknowledgement of the work, even if it ends up that I don't get anything.
Yeah.
Because the other way, it just felt really rude. And like it was like
too, though, I've seen it happen where there's companies they're in an environment where it's actually mainly not for profits. So people are happy to give their time because it's not for profit, it's for a good cause. You know, let's get this going, let's enjoy this. And then you sort of turn around and go, well, you actually know that's a company. That's a not for profit. That's a not for profit. That's a company. That's a company. That's a not for profit. But because they don't legally have to tell you, I find it in the creative world a lot. Is people, the entrepreneur people in the community go, I can make money here, but they don't think about the ramifications on everyone else in the same circle. They just think, I can make a business here. This is great, you know. And you do have the ethical ones. There are the ethical ones, but then there are the ones that you sort of look at and go, bit tasteless, guys. Yeah.
As well, when it's like a technically amateur production company, I think an amateur one, but it's like trying to present as a professional production in its marketing. And I understand and I support companies like keeping profits to keep the company running, but when you're not offering anything at all.
There's the difference, though. There's a difference between keeping the company running and profit.
Your artists. Yeah.
It's different, but there's difference. There's cost and there's profit.
Yeah. Cost
is what it costs you to put something on, the running costs, the whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to have a slush fund. Yeah, okay, put like a 10% into a slush fund every time you make money, that sort of thing. Everything on top of that is profit.
Yeah, and I knew for a fact that this show would have cost bugger all to put on, and we had a packed out audience in the Butterfly Club. where it doesn't cost you anything to put a show in on the Butterfly Club. They just take a higher percentage because that way it allows artists to put on a show without having to risk any money up front for venue costs, which is great for artists. And that means they get really good show that sells out. They make a higher amount, and that covers the costs for the shows that don't do well. That get like 5 people in the audience. And it means artists have a chance to put their work on without having to front the cost of venue fees. And it's a really good starting point.
And the true killer of all these productions, insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Third-party insurance, it's a killer. Says someone who's a secretary for a not-for-profit. that puts on a Lego event every year. Although we didn't last year because of reasons. Yeah. But anyway, okay, what I think we might do is we might have to, as they say, put a pin in this. And I reckon we got to have this chat. We got to sit down. I got to sit down and actually organize it.
Now that I had this chat with Emma today, I'm thinking, because she wants to build podcast, I'm just like, we should do a podcast similar to like the business of making, but the business of creative theatre production stuff, because there is so much information that we have had access to that the avenues that we gained access to them in have now been closed because theatre departments all across the state have just been closed in a lot of different unis. So the access to the information is drying up. And we were some of the last people to get in and get access to this. And it's not the sort of stuff that you can find anywhere easily online that I know of.
Yeah. I just want to cut in here because Sue and Brandon are having a great conversation about learning languages in the Australian schools and stuff. My only problem with learning an Indigenous language in our school is which one do we learn?
Yeah.
There's like 5,000. We're not like Indonesia that actually has a Indonesian that you learn in school is actually sanctioned by the government as the official language, and then they have something like 10,000 variants for all their like some
like an accent.
Yeah. So I'm all for learning an Indigenous language, but I think we need to.
There are about 500 across Australia. If you look up the Australian language map, that's got all of the different things. There's about 500 languages.
That wouldn't work too, because some of them have died out, but also too, how do you create a curriculum for that?
It would be really difficult. I feel like there's ways they could bring it in more.
There's some way to do it.
They'd really have to consult with Indigenous peoples and see what they would like to see and what sort of process they would like there, because you're running the line between you wanting it to be
inclusive
and not like white people coming in being like, oh yeah, let's learn your language is a cool sort of thing.
Yeah. And and what you do in places like Tasmania where they've effectively killed every Indigenous person. So the languages that were spoken there are gone. You can't import someone else's without at least having that conversation with people. So look, I'm all for it, but I just think I think we need to deal with some other issues in that area before we start. Let's learn an Indigenous language.
I think that would be an approach. I don't want to speak for any Indigenous people on this side, but I feel like it's an excellent step that we need to take. But I have a feeling that they would want us to address some much bigger issues as priority first.
Yes, and I agree with that entirely. I think that I don't want to speak for anyone, but I do believe that there are potentially more important issues at the moment, and then once they are resolved, we could potentially start that dialogue.
Yeah, and like preservation of language and culture is a hugely important topic, but also ending like discrimination against a culture and stuff is also an important thing. And I think both need to be, and doing the language learning without doing any of the other stuff would be a performative sort of thing, and it would not be the best. because
it would start off. I think it would start off with the best intentions,
but it would come across being like a shallow performative attempt at covering up all of the shit, which is not what it could be. That's the sort of thing that you want to see have any sort of meaningful change.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely.
We always have group chats and ramble on about all sorts of interesting stuff, don't we? We did start this podcast about a book.
Yeah.
Actually, it was more about food, but we won't discuss that.
We started on tea, then we moved to food, and then we got a little bit of the book done, and then we moved to
ragging on Bethany
and broccoli, ragging on a little bit on a certain unnamed person.
Yeah, leave that one.
Which
don't want to personal opinions are here.
Yeah. Well, that's
I know it is, but I don't like ragging on people.
Exactly, and it is like personal perspectives, which is why we keep them as personal perspectives without like naming and shaming anyone for doing something hugely wrong, because like it's a personal preference to not want to read those books for certain reasons and thinking that it's a bit hypocritical and whatever, but it's not like the end of the world. And like if there's people who enjoy the stuff, then hey, let live.
There's people that enjoy SJM.
Exactly, and I will never understand those people, but sure, you can enjoy your weird fae rom-com with huge dicks and fucking in the sky or whatever it is.
Well, how did Sydney describe it? Sydney from Read with Sydney. Oh, she's actually just with Sydney now because she's going to expand her channel a bit. But what is it? It's effectively fairies are effectively humans with big dicks and magic. Humans with magic and big dicks. That's the difference.
With pointy ears and big dicks and magic. Humans, but with big dicks and magic.
I love her. Look, I love her. I love her reviews. I love her. There's also another reviewer that I've discovered recently, thanks to Emily. Year of the Author. Oh,
relatively new channel.
Guys, give her a chance. Go and watch. Well, you can listen to it. You actually have video, so you can just like put it on the background whilst you're doing stuff. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Also, she has a really good review of.
I like the way she does. I like the way she does reviews because she does pros and cons, which I really like because there's always good and bad things about books, and any book, doesn't matter if it's traditionally published or self-published, there's always going to be good and bad stuff about it. And I do like how she does it because I think it's a very fair way of doing it, saying, what she liked about it, what she didn't like about it, and all sort of the problem, all the bits and pieces in it. I think it's great. And, she's done a lot of AuthorTube books, which is great too. And that's one thing I like is that because she's being fair and not so much impartial, she'll tell you her preference, but she will also encourage you to go read that book yourself
and make up your own mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she also has a really good review breakdown of the books that we won't name.
We're going to go out there and try to figure it out.
If you're really curious, you can just go through her channel and try and narrow it down from the ones that she's reviewed so far.
But no, she's reviewed a lot, and I think it's great because, look, okay, one thing that comes up is reviews. Do you or do you not read reviews? Now, I'm part of a group on Facebook, authors wide for the win or something it's called. It's for authors that want to go wide, not just publish with Amazon. American based, because I believe Amazon is a lot more entrenched over there than it is for us. Like for me, going wide was just a no-brainer. I was like, yeah, of course I'm going to go with someone like Ingram Spark that can send it to everyone and to libraries. I mean, why wouldn't I? But there's obviously that big thing about being Kindle Unlimited and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of it comes up about reviews. Should you read your reviews? And, okay, I think bad reviews are useful. One, it tells you where you screwed up.
Yeah.
And two, it tells other readers if a book is not for them.
Yeah.
My books are not YA. My books are adult, but I'm on AuthorTube. So the chance of my book being popped up in Amazon recommendations because of another fellow AuthorTuber who writes YA is quite high when it does eventually get published. So at least a review, a 1-star review, someone goes to read it. This is not YA. Fantastic. A person wanting to read YA is not going to read my book because there's a review saying it's not YA. That's fine. Okay, the 1 star's a bit of a dick punch, but what you can't have it always. So I think reviews. And this is a big thing about, and that's what I'm saying. Like, as I said, Addie, my prime example at the moment, I'm not a huge fan of. But if someone came to me and said, what book would you recommend me read? And they like that kind of book, I'd be saying, here, read this book, take it. Read it and see what you think, because I do think it has merits. It's just not something I was interested in. And I might go back and reread it in a year's time, and I might go, holy shit, I love this book now, just like Broken Angels. I love that book. Now I'm like, oh, why did I waste my time rereading this?
Brandon's just like, plot twist, where is Baba is YA. And so he was like,
well, do you know some people that would struggle to read it? No, I'm only kidding. I'm not talking about Where is Baba. I'm talking about my sci-fi novel, but yes.
No, Where is Baba is not YA. It's a certified thriller novel.
Oh yes, particularly when Baba attacks.
Let's wait till Where is Baba 2, where Baba becomes the face huggers in whatever that movie is.
Well, you've seen Baba attack.
Anyway, we were meant to finish over an hour ago, and we went on several rants that were not book club, but they were fun.
So let's call it there, guys. Let's have a good night.
So this book is excellent.
Yes.
Read it.
I've buried my copy of all the other books I bought the other day.
Buy it, read it, get it from the library. It is amazing. It's a very quick read, and read it a second time after you read it in a day for enjoyment.
Yeah, I read it in a day whilst caring for my sick son.
I read it in about a week over sporadic short bursts, which is very quick for me reading something physical. I can't read physical books very much anymore because I just lose concentration so often. It's very few books that are engaging enough to get me to be able to focus, which is why I like audiobooks so much, because I can get through them.
Because I can put it on in the background, and I'm not the only person getting the benefit from it. My husband gets the benefit from it. My son gets the benefit from it because they're hearing the words. For instance, that is how my husband has managed to consume the Silmarillion, and he is not a big reader, yet he understands the Silmarillion and knows what's going on. He heard it through audio. Yeah. Every couple of months I put it on, so he's heard it multiple times. But he married me. He knew what I was getting into. Anyway, okay, so let's
a long time ago.
We're just going to leave that up from Sue for Bethany's sake, in case she gets it that far.
Yes. Yeah. Bethany, broccoli. Oh, they both start with B.
Oh, God.
Broccoli for life.
Oh, now, before we do go, how is your jumper going?
Oh, I got another row done, and then I put it away thinking we were going to be finishing up.
Yeah.
An hour ago.
I'm so close to finishing this corner.
Ooh, it's looking good. Oh my god, it's huge.
Yeah. So the plan is, when I actually do the ribbing, I'm going to have buttons on it, so I can actually button it like a wrap, but have buttons so it doesn't fall.
Mm.
Well, this was technically a sweater's quantity, a jumper quantity of yarn, but I gained too much weight, and I'm short. I probably need one more ball. And the problem is I can't, because it's hand dyed, I can't get it. So I just went, well, what else can I do? I can do a big ass wrap that will be like a nice big comfy blanket.
Nice.
And it's yeah, kinda. It actually was inspired by there's a pretty well known independent pattern designer, and she put out one called the Everyday Shawl, and it's pretty similar. It's a little not as big as this, because I just wanted to use up all the yarn I had, because it's expensive yarn and I wanted to use it. But it's the same idea. It's got buttons down the one of the short lengths and half of one of the long, and so I can actually, I will be able to effectively turn it into a poncho, or button up here and go nice and long. But also too, I can't handle jumpers on me at the moment. And when I have Bob's number 2, we can snuggle up under that together. So yes. Anyway, yeah, yes, Suey. Yes, exactly. And not because you have to cover up, but because this is going to be my second winter baby, and I don't do cold.
Skin cold.
I don't do cold tit.
Yeah. Ouch.
Yes.
Ouch.
Yes. So yes, a nice big warm sort of comfy thing that has buttons, so it's not going to fall off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's call that a night. Let's go. Oh shit, we've gone for well over an hour longer than I wanted.
Yeah.
Get up on the rant, keep going. But yeah, we'll definitely have a chat about talking about creative business.
Being paid.
Yeah. I got to bring that series back, because I think it's just, I think as a community we need to discuss more about it. Just the creative community as a whole. We just need to discuss more about that kind of business stuff. So I think the last one we did was ISBNs, wasn't it?
I think we did.
We did ISBN.
We did websites and stuff. I've forgotten.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. Yeah, it is after 11. I have to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Because someone likes to be fed regularly. Well, thank you all for coming and hanging with us, and we shall see you next month on Charlotte's channel with Stardust.
Yes.
Which I now own on audiobook as well as physical book, and I cannot wait to listen to Neil Gaiman read it. So
I'm going to try and find that, because it sounds excellent.